It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau is here. Jeff Jarvis is here. Coming up, the Internet Archive loses in court. I'm sorry to say. Elon Musk backs down in Brazil. And why we can never get rid of pennies. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 784, recorded September 4th, 2024. Trochilidine Vigor. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show we get together with some of my favorite people and talk about some of your favorite subjects, none of which have anything to do with Google. Joining us right now, Mr. Dr. Professor Emeritus.
Not a doctor.
Jeff Jarvis. Formerly the director of the Town Night Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the City University of New York. Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Has the time come for you to reveal?
Nope. Still waiting for some bureaucracy.
Okay. Yep. Well, we'll know he'll be gainfully employed, but if he's not, he's writing like a demon.
I am writing about the linotype. I'm right now talking about the making of matrices.
God.
Ooh.
And
this is a mold for a letter.
And that's Paris Martineau feigning interest.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
That's her job. She writes for the Reporter.
I'll bring you matrices when we see you in New York. You'll be
good.
Very
I
excited.
can't wait. We're going to have lunch. Paris writes for theinformation.com, where she covers the intersection of youth and technology, which is a big subject. For the Weekend, which we love. That's actually my weekly read at The Information. So nice to see you.
Lovely to see you as well.
And we will be all having lunch on Friday. I'm so excited. I'm coming out to New York tomorrow. JetBluing it to New York. And I wore, as you know, my New York shirt to celebrate with the sombreros on it. I know that's
very
a big
important
thing
to represent the culture.
New York these days. We're also doing a meetup, and I hope it doesn't rain, but there's rain in the forecast.
What's
at Bryant Park.
Let's see here. Saturday.
It's all right. If it rains, we can shelter and something.
If it rains, you can lead a crowd of how many dozens of people into a bar.
Twitters.
70%.
Yeah, it's going up. It was 66 yesterday. So anywho, after that event will be Bryant Park, 3 to 5 p.m., rain or shine. And then after that, a photo walk with Joe Esposito from our club.
Yeah.
He's a street photographer in New York City. And I think we're going to get a great tour. We're going to see some really amazing stuff. So
I think being inside, taking pictures of the subway and the train terminal and
great shots.
The Oculus. I mean, it'll be fun to do inside stuff.
Grand Central Station. Yeah, we'll do a lot of stuff inside.
I think it's a different Joe, but yes.
Oh, not Joe Esposito. Wrong Joe.
Oh, I thought, my God, Joe does everything.
I was going to say stickers. Joe's everywhere.
Joe Esposito does the stickers. It's Joe, and I can't remember his last name. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I'll know him when I see him. All right. So breaking news just happened. I'm sad to say earlier today, federal court rejected the Internet Archive's appeal of the decision that its library was illegal. The publishers Hachette Company won.
Is it the whole thing that's caught, or just that practice they did of giving away the books?
From The Verge, the Internet Archive has lost its appeal in a fight to lend out scanned ebooks without the approval of publishers. Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that permitting the Internet Archive's digital library, the whole thing, would, quote, allow for wide-scale copying that deprives creators of compensation and diminishes the incentive to produce new works. This is wrong in every respect.
Oh, God, it's so wrong.
Hachette, Penguin, Random House, Wiley, and HarperCollins sued IA over its claims the digital library constitutes willful digital piracy on an industrial scale. The court said a digital library is not the same as a lending library, it's a book library.
Which is crazy because the way that it works is exactly like a real library. Yeah. I go and try and check out a book. I have it for 3 hours and then it goes away.
Yeah.
What's it, the doctrine of first, what's it called? When you buy something? that you have a right. Is it something we went through
right of
CDs?
First refusal?
No.
No, resale. It's
resale.
No,
first,
there's a name for it.
I know what you're talking about. Here's one other thing the court wrote. On the one hand, ebook licensing fees may impose a burden on libraries and reduce access to creative work. On the other hand, authors have a right to be compensated in connection with the copying and distribution of their original creations. Congress balanced those competing claims upon the public interest in the Copyright Act. We must uphold that balance here. I think it was John Scalzi who wrote on Blue Sky saying, I love libraries. Every time they buy the books they lend you.
Yep.
And there's a good chance you may read a book and go, I want to buy more of this author's works.
Right.
They're good for authors.
Yes.
And a digital library is just as good as a regular library. In fact, the future of libraries is obviously digital. Does the court want all libraries to stay? Maybe we should get papyruses. They'd be much more effective. Do they want us to stay in the dark ages, or can we enter the new era with the same controls? By the way, you have limited lending. You have to buy copies of the books, right? The one thing the Internet Archive does not do is buy the digital copies of the books. They buy the books and scan them. There is a petition. I don't know if a petition makes much difference. Will they appeal? They could. It is it's only the Second Circuit.
Sotomayor is the one over that circuit.
But it's expensive. This is a chance to donate to the Internet Archive.
Yeah, they do great work.
I donate monthly. And this is very disappointing, I think.
There's all kinds of works that I need for research. I mean, old stuff about the linotype right now. And a lot of it I can find on the Internet Archive. And I have to follow their rules and do what they say. And, but.
So their digital library, I guess, is gone. Here's a couple of things. We should get Cory Doctorow on. One of the things he says is, look, publishers don't like libraries, period, of any kind. They can't get rid of the Ben Franklin style book library yet, but they're going to stop any attempt to bring libraries into the 21st century. And he says
look
it's
at the
bad
Google
for
case.
authors.
The Google
right
scanning,
which
case.
they lost, right? They lost to Google.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking. I don't see a statement yet for the Internet Archive, but that story just broke, brand new. It's a big copyright case. I think Kathy Gellis would probably have something to say. Oh, yeah. Why don't you, Benito, maybe send her a note, see if she wants to pop in to yell. Right? Notably, the appeal court ruling, this is from Wired, rejects the Internet Archive's argument that its lending practices were shielded by fair use, calling it unpersuasive.
Ugh.
I think it's worth noting here that this specifically, I don't think it refers to all of the Internet Archive's online library. It is specifically concerning their National Emergency Library, a program that started during the pandemic to allow kind of wider access to 1.3 million.
Yeah, if that's all they ended.
And previously, those books had only been allowed to be checked out one at a time. But under this new program, multiple people could borrow it at once.
Yeah, so that's so important, Paris, as to what exactly did we lose? Because if that's all we lost was that emergency program,
As I remember, so the Internet Archive started the National Emergency Library during COVID in March 2020. And that was one where you had an unlimited number of books and all that stuff. They suspended that after COVID kind of
also after they got sued.
But they still offer a digital library. As I understand it, the sticking point from the publisher's point of view was not that they had a digital library. They wanted the publishers to use the Internet Archive to use the system the publishers had set up, where they would buy ebooks and use technology to protect the ebooks. Instead, they were buying books.
It was a DRM problem.
It was a DRM problem. They were buying books and scanning them. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just a DRM issue.
This is from TechCrunch. The publishers, which already had an uneasy relationship with both the Internet Archive and the digital book lending community in general, sued soon after the program went live in June 2020. The publishers contended that going from single-user borrowing to limitless borrowing essentially turned the system from a notional library into an unvarnished act of piracy. For its part, Internet Archive asserted that the use of books fell under the fair use doctrine and the removal of limits was done in the public interest. Furthermore, as a nonprofit organization, the Internet Archive could have no monetary or financial motivation. And the courts, in this case, disagreed.
Actually, though, the courts did acknowledge that Internet Archive was a nonprofit organization, and that was perhaps the one little bright light in this whole thing.
I still don't know what is actually forbidden going forward. That's
what I believe is forbidden going forward is multi-user lending.
They can't lend.
You cannot have your scan of a physical book and lend that out to all three of us at once. Only one person.
But can you do it once at a time?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Internet Archive statement from the Director of Library Services, Chris Freeland, said, in today's opinion about the Internet Archive's digital lending of books that are available electronically elsewhere, we were reviewing the opinion. We'll continue to defend the rights of libraries to own, lend, and preserve books. The Authors Alliance, Dave Hansen, Executive Director. Authors are researchers. Authors are readers. IA's digital library helps those authors create new works and supports their interests in seeing their works be read. This ruling may benefit the bottom line of the largest publishers and most prominent authors, but for most it will end up harming more than it will help. This is the important point. Copyright does not benefit authors. Cory Doctorow has said this again and again. And it benefits the owners.
Since the beginning, it was not the authors who wanted it. It was the
publishers
who wanted it, and the booksellers.
The publishers. The Internet Archive's legal woes are not over. The music labels also sued over a music digitization project. I mean, we knew that the Internet Archive, I've talked to Brewster Kahle, the founder, and I said, what about copyright? He said, we'll worry about that when the time comes, but we think it's more important to start saving stuff now. If we wait till we get a clarity on that issue, we'll never copy anything. And we think it's really important that we save everything for future, because, websites they come and go. I think it's fine that they've extended this to recordings, to books. I think they're doing a very important work of digital preservation.
Pretty cool. I'm looking at the decision from the Second Circuit right now, and I'm scrolling down, and then I suddenly see the name Catherine R. Gillis.
Oh, yeah, she had an amicus brief. Yeah,
she did.
For the Copia Foundation, which is TechDirt's lobbying arm. I don't see a story yet on TechDirt. Unlike other blogs, they are thinking.
Here is I'm going through, in last August, the Internet Archive posted what this decision means for our library. I assume the same thing still stands.
Because they lost in 2023, and this is an appeal of that.
They say the lawsuit only concerns our book lending program. The injunction clarifies that publishers are going to notify us when their commercially available books are available on the Internet Archive, and we will expeditiously remove them from lending. They also got an order from the judge agreeing with the Internet Archive's request that this injunction should only cover books available in electronic format from publishers, not their full catalog of books and prints.
That's actually good.
That's good, because there's a lot of old books. As a researcher, I really need.
It doesn't significantly impact our other library services. The Internet Archive may still digitize books for preservation purposes and may still provide access to our digital collections in a number of ways, including through interlibrary loan, making accessible formats available to people with qualified print disabilities. And we may continue to display short portions of books as is consistent with fair use. The injunction does not affect lending out-of-print books, and the Internet Archive will still make millions of public domain texts available to the public without restriction.
God bless you.
I think basically what is happening here is publishers are saying, for books that we sell an ebook version of, you cannot digitize the print version and make that accessible to people, which sucks, but it is not as devastating.
Which is every book since 20 years.
Yeah.
And they'll do it now. They'll put it up for ebook just for the sake of protecting it in this case.
The larger issue, and I want to get Kathy Gillis to explain this, is a copyright issue. That what they were doing was not viewed as fair use.
Right. That's what it says on the first page. Yeah.
And so this is really the grander, affects more than just the Internet Archive. The judge ruled that scanning the book and lending it, but scanning is the issue, is not a transformative fair use. That was the Internet Archive's library, that it was transformative. It works like a traditional library, did not violate copyright law. The judge said, because the digital copies do not provide criticism, commentary, or information about the originals or alter the works, it's not transformative. The court concluded that IA's use of publishers' books was not transformative, so they don't have a fair use defense.
Page 48 of the decision here, not only is IA's free digital library likely, italicized, to serve as a substitute for the originals, the undisputed evidence suggests it is intended, italicized, to achieve that exact result. IA copies the works in full and makes those copies available to the public in their entirety. It does not do this to achieve a transformative secondary purpose, but to supplant the originals. It's also to expand the originals, to give them more audience.
It's not trying to put these guys out of business, and they buy these books, just like a library buys the books it lends. They're not trying to supplant the publishers. As Scalzi pointed out, this not only do I sell a copy or more, because they buy a new copy for every 3 or something like that.
IA itself advertises its digital books as a free alternative to publishers' print and ebooks. Parenthesis quoting, the Open Libraries Project ensures libraries will not have to buy the same content over and over simply because of a change in a format.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, I guess it undermines the publisher's right to make money.
I mean, and I'd also argue, I guess I get the reason why publishers are doing this is because they don't want to lose even an inch. But I think it's a stretch to say that it's going to significantly impact your bottom line. Print scan of this being available on the Internet Library. Most people who want to read an ebook are going to read an ebook. They're not going to read a PDF scan of a book.
We've been through this fight before with music. The music industry for years held that, Napster and others reduced their profits, and they were never able to demonstrate it. In fact, it brought people back to music. It was the opposite.
I write about this in books themselves, that when more books were available online through archives, there were greater sales of them. It's pretty obvious, and that's what happened. And let me say for the record, my publisher of my next book is Hachette, and they ain't doing this in my interest. I'm not going to get one penny because of this decision, not one. This is for their purposes.
Okay.
All right.
That's just one of many big stories we're going to cover in today's blockbuster edition of This Week in Google.
That was excitable.
That was excitable. I'm excited.
Now let's see it. Let's see what you can follow.
Let's go to Brazil.
Yeah, let's see.
Where they put coffee in the coffee in Brazil. Brazil, as you know, has blocked X after Musk ignored court orders. Kind of like, I guess, what happened in France with Pavel Durov and Telegram. So the Supreme Court, which has now all weighed in on a single judge's order and said, yeah, we agree, has blocked X. And when Starlink did not block X as other internet service providers were supposed to do, they started putting holds on Starlink's assets in Brazil. Then Elon caved and said, okay, we'll block X on Starlink as well.
A couple interesting angles there is, one, he's advised his employees in other companies to get out of Brazil.
Yeah, this all started when he closed the office in Brazil
because they don't have anybody
after the judge threatened arrests for ignoring his orders.
So Twitter lost, by one count, 40 million daily active users.
You know who gained them?
Brazil.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, 2 million. Like that.
And man, are they smug.
Yeah, they should be.
No, they shouldn't. I went to Blue Sky to see what and everybody, it wasn't everybody, but a number of people were very smug about this and kind of dissing the other.
Leo, you're telling me people on the internet are smug?
They were
people on the internet are being insufferable online? Wow.
He found the place where they exist. We didn't think they were there.
I can't believe.
The judge said any person in Brazil who tried to use X with a VPN would be fined almost $9,000 a day, froze the finances of Starlink to try to collect $3 million in fines. By the way, this comes down to, I might defend Elon here, because it comes down to...
I know it hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's painful, but it comes down to the judge in Brazil ordering X to take accounts down.
Yeah.
And the account, well, as you know,
Why did they want the accounts down?
Well, it's probably
They were
political.
claiming disinformation, basically.
Yeah.
But, define disinformation these days when you got a political fight like they have in Brazil.
According to the Times, Musk and the justice have been sparring for months. Musk says Justice Moraes is illegally censoring conservative voices. Justice Moraes says Musk is illegally obstructing his work to clean up the Brazilian internet. I always get nervous when I hear the words clean up the internet.
The internet is disgusting. You're never going to clean it.
And as you know, President Bolsonaro.
That's why we love it.
That's why we love it.
Yeah. Who was voted out of office, ruled ineligible to run. He and his followers have used X to build up support for his return. The Judge Moraes is leading investigations into Bolsonaro. And as part of that, he wants to block more than 100 social media accounts associated with right-wing pundits, podcasters, and federal lawmakers who in some cases have questioned Bolsonaro's election loss. So if these were election deniers in the United States, see, no, we're protected here. No court could order Musk to take down an account of an election denier on X, right?
Right.
But in Brazil, they did. And now, look, Musk says he's a free speech absolutist. He's not. Just try to say cisgender on Twitter and you'll know. But in this case, he's defending the rights of these of the political opposition to tweet. Musk has called Mr. Moraes, the justice, a dictator, and posted dozens of times about the judge on X, accusing him of silencing conservative voices. It's not, I hate it when they use the word conservative. Bolsonaro is not a conservative.
All these words are meaningless now. Religious is meaningless now.
Yeah.
Right and left are meaningless. Yeah.
But Musk, I think Musk does have shareholders. So not on X, but on Starlink, SpaceX for sure.
And Tesla.
So I think when they started to freeze the funds of SpaceX, that got his attention.
What's interesting, Leo, is on one hand, I'm upset and nervous about all that we count on Musk for. Look at Ukraine.
Oh, I know.
You and Starlink and all that, right? Look at
yes, I rely on
astronauts.
Elon Musk. I did the whole show from Starlink yesterday. I'm doing it now from the all-American Comcast.
that we all know and love.
It's just
win with an internet service provider. They're all horrific.
Right. But there's also the poor astronauts in space now depend upon him for their lives. It's just too much to pay for him. But
the Navy has
also
just done a big deal with SpaceX for Starlink.
Yes. All of which is very nerve-making. On the other hand, it's interesting to see that Musk himself is vulnerable. By having so many tentacles, there were so many ways to go after him in Brazil.
Yeah, but in ways that I don't think we
wouldn't do, but a lot of countries would.
I mean, and it's also interesting now that we're talking about this for the second time on the show, second week in a row, of companies effectively countries effectively going after the CEOs and executives of tech companies who have refused to comply with local authorities or local judicial orders. I wonder if this is kind of part of a bigger trend we're going to see where, social media execs or prominent tech execs are going to be barred from traveling to countries that they've pissed off.
Right.
There's
threats against Zuckerberg even in this country. But
I can't see Mark Zuckerberg being arrested for flying into America.
Presidential immunity? Should anybody on Fifth Avenue? No, it could happen. That's the point of it.
What is the saying? I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. The real test of your support of free speech is if you support the free speech of somebody with whom you vehemently disagree. I vehemently disagree with Bolsonaro, with Elon Musk, And I suspect there's a few things that Pavel Durov has done that I would vehemently disagree with.
Or supports.
I don't know where free speech has to end. It's at the point where it's harming people. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, at some point we should have on Jeff Kossoff. Have you had him on because of Section 230? Oh, God, we should have him
He's
on.
the guy who wrote that book.
He wrote the 26 Words That Created the Internet, and then he wrote another book about, he goes crazy when people try to do the fire in the theater thing because it's it's wrong and everybody screws it up.
Yeah, well, in fact, it's not accurate, right?
Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
Jeff is brilliant and very approachable. And he's a liar in a crowded theater is his latest book.
I love it. That's a good name.
Great title. Great title.
So our First Amendment rights go back to Brandenburg versus Ohio, 1969, which held that unless speech is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action, and is likely or to incite or produce such action, it's protected. You cannot punish speech unless it's aimed at inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to do so.
And
I mean, we could think of things in our recent history that are definitely that.
Well, that's the argument about January 6th. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not enough to merely advocate violence.
And the other issue here is that, and I harp on this, but it's important to remember that choice is speech too, so that each of these platforms has the choice and should not be compelled to carry speech or compelled not to, except when it is illegal.
Right.
And there is illegal speech.
Right. Well, anyway, New York Times is on it.
I haven't seen that account in a while.
I know, but
hashtag.
It's not needed. New York Times is on it.
They're on it.
There's no parody necessary of the New York Times. Telegram's founder's indictment thrusts encryption into the spotlight.
Here we go.
But it does in a way, right? This is Mike Isaac and Shira Frankel writing. Here's part of the problem. The French authorities aren't really very clear about what he did and didn't do. But it sounds like what they didn't like is he didn't give them the keys, the backdoor keys to encrypted speech. Right. But it is also the case that he did not moderate very effectively, clearly illegal and even worse, awful, reprehensible stuff on Telegram. So maybe that's all they're going after him for. They didn't go after Signal, right? Which is really incredible. By the way, Steve yesterday did a great bit quoting Matthew Green, the encryptionist from Johns Hopkins, a guy we really respect, about Telegram's encryption, in which he said it's not encrypted.
Yeah,
it's not encrypted. So I don't know though if that changes the fundamental question of should governments be able to get a backdoor into encryption. Signal, which is truly encrypted, effectively encrypted. Apple's iMessage, RCS from Google, which are effectively end-to-end encrypted. The problem, and Steve pointed this out, the problem with Telegram, and the reason they might be more vulnerable is they have the keys to all the encryption. So Telegram cannot claim that we can't see into those messages. They can. So
that's interesting. I didn't realize
so that changes the whole thing.
Them and the others.
Yeah, it's not true end-to-end. At least that was what Matthew Green and Steve Gibson said yesterday. Of course, Durov, who is a real character, has been going after Signal and WhatsApp, saying the government has back doors into them, but not into us. I think it's quite the opposite, to be honest with you. It's unknown, what's going on there. He called Telegram's secret chat feature, which is hard to use, it's 4 pages deep to turn it on, and it is only on messages one-to-one. It is not on group messages. He called that secret chat feature, quote, the only popular method of communication that is verifiably private. It's not verifiably private. In fact, it's highly unlikely that it is. So I think that, and the Times says all this. Mike Isaac says all this. He knows that. So it may be that it really isn't a test of encryption. It's a test of whether Durov was willing to open up the server to people. Because they know, because Telegram knows exactly what's in those messages. Zach Judge Raza, a British barrister at Field Fisher who specializes in data and privacy issues, quoted in the Times. Telegram is one of the few services that is not end-to-end encrypted by default. That could have been part of its downfall because everything's out in the open for everyone to see. Will Cathcart, current head of WhatsApp. I wish I could say it was a settled debate that more security is better. I think encryption is still under threat in parts of the world. That's for sure. By the way, Elon did get off. This surprises me.
Don't ever leave that
sentence. Yeah, you got to finish that sentence.
Don't breathe at that moment, please.
And we'll be back after this word.
After this breaking news.
Breaking news. Elon got the courts. Elon beat his suit. No, I can't say that either. He was promoting Dogecoin. He was promoting it in kind of a weird way. Here's one of the tweets: "Baby Doge, do baby Doge, do." He said that
poor judges Tesla with this.
Tesla, I know.
I went to law school and became a judge.
Tesla was. They said he said Tesla would accept Dogecoin as payment. Didn't, I don't think. He had a tweet that said one word, Doge. And the people who are suing were people who lost money investing in this meme Bitcoin, saying Elon told us it'd be good. The New York federal judge dismissed the claims Thursday, finding that Musk's statements were aspirational rather than factual and susceptible of being
That's how I describe all of my tweets, actually.
Aspirational.
Not
and
factual.
Further, no reasonable investor could rely on them. Well, right.
Wait. But he didn't say this is not financial advice.
He doesn't have to say that. I don't think if a guy in a Mexican sombrero shirt told you should buy Leo coin,
actually,
you took that advice, would I be liable?
This may seem like kind of a silly story, but I bet it's going to have interesting implications as far as precedent goes. Because if you guys were, one of my pet interests is following the meme stock cults through this day. You know, kind of the whole
you are so
GameStop.
wonderfully weird going to these strange people. I want to avoid.
That's not weird. That is fascinating.
It's fascinating. We all remember.
The whole thing, it's crazy.
We all remember the big GameStop boom of whenever that was. That is just the beginning. Of course, there are still the GameStop apes, as they're called, out there. There are the people who are stumping for AMC and things like that. The part that I'm fascinated by are the people who are still stumping for Bed Bath & Beyond, even though their shares have been nullified to this day.
And even when GameStop was a meme stock, it wasn't didn't have much of a future.
The thing that has been happening in this community lately, sometime in the last, 6 months or so, a guy who used to goes by the name of Roaring Kitty, who had set off the original GameStop meme bubble. He had been basically not active online ever since the first market crash. People assumed that he was just out there enjoying his, riches or whatever. Yeah. He came back sometime within the last 6 months, and the only thing his Twitter account posted was a photo. It was like a meme image of a man leaning forward, which I guess had previously been shared by the GameStop Twitter account. And GameStop shares, as a result of him just tweeting this image, no information about stock, the GameStop shares went through the roof, and a whole other boom and bust started. I think he did a version of this 1 or 2 times, and people online were kind of speculating, this guy's clearly just trying to, milk the market.
All of his tweets are memes. They don't have any text. They're just pictures and video.
But I bet what like the precedent from this Elon Musk case is going to be applied in this, because many people online, I mean, I'm sure when there's smoke, there's fire in this case. Many people online were saying that this could be securities fraud. You have all these, foolish people who are buying into the stock thinking that their god, roaring kitty, has come back and is going to usher in this new age of, prosperity for these stocks. And I'm sure once many of those people felt the burn and realized that didn't actually exist, some of them are going to sue.
But imagine that court case.
This is like Q. Look at these cryptic tweets. It's totally, there's an Uno reverse card. That's all. Yeah. That's very cryptic, right?
It's so fascinating, guys. It is exactly like QAnon.
It's better to not be explicit. It's better to let people project their beliefs onto what you're posting, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is currently, I guess, an area where this is currently playing out is with Ryan Cohen, the CEO of GameStop. He, I believe, he's being involved in some sort of case about whether or not he pushed people to invest in Bed Bath & Beyond when the stock was crashing. And there's a really interesting transcript of his deposition with 30 people where he's like, I was just S-posting, as they call it. I was just posting memes online. But it's quite fascinating because the way that these communities interpret these tweets is like, he knows exactly what he's doing. He'll post a rocket ship emoji and people will go crazy and buy more GameStop or one of these other stocks.
There are at least 2 documentaries already on the GameStop thing. There's a Netflix documentary called Eat the Rich, and there's an MSNBC documentary, and there's a new one in the works.
What's fascinating is Paris, is that, can you imagine the court case? If it was bad enough to have that Elon Musk tweet be a matter of a court case, even if they found this guy's name and they found his address and they took him to task, there's no way you could have a legal discussion about the implications made that people themselves come to.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Time and hands. Did you get involved in that at all? Did you invest anything? No, you didn't.
No. But I do just find it sickeningly fascinating.
Paris, I got to ask you though, as an intervention here. Are you similarly fascinated by crypto?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Crypto is just.
I was worried there.
Crypto's related though, isn't it?
I mean, crypto often has. This is what we're talking about with Dogecoin. People have these boom and bust cycles. I just think so much of it is that it's a little less interesting to me. I mean, I'm particularly interested in the Bed Bath & Beyond. They call them baggies, bag holders, because it is such an interesting, you have to be in such an interesting psychological state to have invested in stock for Bed Bath & Beyond, seen it gone bankrupt, see it filing for bankruptcy, continued to buy more stock of a company that has filed for bankruptcy, saw your shares get canceled because they went bankrupt, and still believe that you are invested in Bed Bath & Beyond, and that actually they're kind of their galaxy brain version of this. The whole QAnon conspiracy theory is that Ryan Cohen and a couple of other executives are going to combine all these companies into a super company, potentially called Teddy, that will involve GameStop, Bed Bath & Beyond, AMC, a bunch of other stuff. And it's just nonsense. This is
why our political life is in such disarray. It's the same kind of credulous, hopeful, wishful thinking, whether it's a meme stock, a cryptocurrency, or a political figure. There's a lot of this. What is wrong with us? Are you still in favor of the Hannah Arendt's theory that we're all troubled loners? And
well, no, we're not all troubled loners. I'm actually disturbed by all the talk from the Surgeon General and New York Times columnists that we have this epidemic of loneliness.
He needs to shut up.
I agree. I think that's wrong. And I think it gets overused. But I still do hold to Arendt's theory that it's more about Kornhauser, to get into sociology here, about not having any other connections in the world. There's no competing connections for you. And so that makes you vulnerable as an individual to say, oh, I'll join this cult. Sure. child molesters in the pizza parlor. Yeah, it makes sense to me. And that's how all joined it is by saying those things. So that's a little different from loneliness per se. You can be very lonely in a crowd, as we said last week.
Yeah, it is inherently an act of community that these people are doing.
That's right.
They believe that it is
But it's a
them
fake community,
and their fellow community members against the world. And it's also part of it is a like mental trick to where these people, for some reason, maybe feel like left out of larger discussion, or that, you know, things haven't gone their way. And by ascribing to these belief systems, they get to believe that they are actually smarter than everybody else, that they understand some grand plan that is going on. And it makes the world make sense. In the case of the meme stock people, kind of the unifying theory of it is that there are all these large, like, market maker type forces, all these financial companies that are out there shorting the stocks and really just out there trying to stick it to the little guy. And for people who are living in an increasingly economically turmoiled world, that sort of thinking would make sense.
And they're not wrong. You can't win in a market that's controlled by computers that can operate in a millisecond, and you can't.
So is it worse now than it was? There've always been, Autosync is saying in our Discord, there's always been, this kind of thing's always been around, but it used to be a small number of people, and now it's...
they burned witches in the day.
Yeah. Look at the Salem witch trials. It's a classic example of kind of a spreading hysteria that these girls were witches and horrible things happened. But yeah.
And also our mythology in America. Like, American mythology is a lot of special boy stuff. Like, there's always like the one special boy who's like the key to everything.
Horatio Alger. Yeah.
And everybody thinks that they're the special boy, you know?
Right. That's Benito Gonzalez, our technical director, editor, and very astute, who was raised in the Philippines under Marcos, so has a very different perspective on life in the United States. We talked about this on Twit on Sunday when we were talking about Japanese culture versus American culture. Japanese culture is a collective society, and ours is very much an individualistic society. And maybe that's one of the things that, although you've got crazy conspiracy theories in every culture, I would imagine. I don't think we're unique to them. Do you think, Benito, under Marcos, there were people in the Philippines who were, looking to conspiracies and other things to understand and make sense of their world?
I mean, I guess that's possible, but a lot of what happened in the early 80s, in the late 70s, early 80s was like a brain drain, really. People fled. So
the smart people just got out.
Yeah, like everybody fled.
Like your dad, he just got the hell out.
Actually, no, my dad came back to.
Yeah. Came back to the Philippines or came back to the United States?
They came back to the Philippines to fight back.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
He was in Aquino. That's why, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have I asked you this, Benito? What do you think of the news site Rappler?
Oh, it's great. Okay. Maria Ressa is a treasure. Yeah.
I don't know that. What's Rappler? We've
Rappler,
talked about that.
Well, you can explain it better than I can.
Oh, it's a Filipino news site.
You've heard of Maria Ressa. She won the Pulitzer, Nobel Prize.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a Nobel Prize winner. She got
kicked
out of the country by Duterte when she went after him for all the drug stuff.
Yeah, but why do you think the Philippines is prone to? See, this is another question.
Oh, well, see, the Philippines, like, we are pretty similar, actually, pretty similar to America in political thinking and all this kind of stuff. Because America was our last colonizer, so like we have a lot of similarities to American culture, or like there's a lot of aspirations to be like American culture.
But what's with the strong men? You'd think once a country had won its liberty and its democracy, they wouldn't go back.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with, same thing, misinformation. Like, that story has been retold now. Like, the Marcos story is now a different story. Like, people believe something different now over there. Not necessarily everybody, and not totally different, but there are competing stories now of history, and like that's not
those who do not remember history are destined to repeat it.
And we have another Marcos in power now,
right?
And he seems to be, like, so far, at least from what I've understood,
he's better than Duterte.
Yeah, and he's been okay, which is which is
that's like what your wife's saying is fine.
It's okay. He's fine. He's fine.
So he's doing a lot of washing also of the past. So.
And I always get nervous because these guys often come in as reformers and then get power, then start to consolidate power. Then suddenly they're the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's true everywhere. Political families, political parties.
I'm not just saying the Philippines. Yeah. It's everywhere. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's take a little break. And on that bad note, we'll talk about something happy. I'll find it. Don't worry. America must free itself from the tyranny of the penny, and the Times is on it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. See how I tied that right in? Our show today brought to you by our fine friends at Veeam, Veeam. We actually stopped covering ransomware attacks every week on Security Now because they're just so commonplace. They're just all the time. They're up 84% this year. And I always wonder, how do you get burned by a ransomware attack? Don't you have a good backup? Well, it turns out, no, a lot of people don't. Without your data, when you lose your data, your customer trust turns to digital dust. That's why you need Veeam. Veeam's data, listen to this, data protection and ransomware recovery ensures that you can secure and restore your enterprise data wherever and whenever you need it, no matter what happens. They're the number one global market leader in data resilience. And I'll tell you how you know Veeam's great. They're trusted by over 77% of the Fortune 500 to keep their businesses running when digital disruptions like ransomware strikes. 77% of the Fortune 500. So really what that's telling me is that all those headlines about the data loss and paying the ransomware gangs and all that, that's the 23%. That's the people who don't have Veeam. Get Veeam. Veeam lets you back up and recover your data instantly across your entire cloud ecosystem. With Veeam, you could proactively detect malicious activity, stop it in its tracks. You can remove the guesswork by automating your recovery plans and policies. You have a recovery plan and policy, right? It's up to date, right? Get real-time support from ransomware recovery experts should the worst happen. It's Veeam. Look, I don't have to tell you, data is the lifeblood of your business. Get data resilient with Veeam. Veeam. Go to veeam.com to learn more. It's just like, I don't understand why you wouldn't. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google, and we thank you for your support. Tell them when you go to veeam.com, say, yeah, we heard about it on Twig. Veeam. Finally, we talked about monetary policy and bimetallisation and the gold standard, right? Last couple of weeks ago or last week. And
we also talked about my father-in-law's mountain of pennies.
Mountain of pennies. Well, the Times must be listening because this week.
No, they ain't listening to me.
They said, that Jarvis once in a blue moon comes up with an interesting story. This week in the New York Times Magazine, look at that mountain of pennies. Could be from your dad. The penny may seem like a harmless coin, says the New York Times, and you have to dig through all these pennies for the next line.
Yes.
But a few things symbolize our national dysfunction more than the inability to stop minting this worthless currency. We spend $90 million a year minting pennies. And the funny thing about pennies is they don't get back in circulation. You don't spend pennies, do you? No, you've got them in a jar somewhere in your closet.
Katie Weaver is so good too, the writer of this.
This is a great piece, and she nails it. She says there's one reason and one reason only that we still have pennies. Everybody knows it's a waste of money, that the mint doesn't need it. No one needs pennies, but the company that makes the zinc blanks that go inside of every penny and has made billions of dollars in federal money making they're the only company, the one company that makes them, runs this page, pennies.org, Americans for Common Sense. ACC conducts research and provides information to Congress and the executive branch on the value and benefits of the penny. There is no value. There's no benefit. The penny is basically being minted, goes into your pocket because, you buy something for $8.99 and you get a penny back. And then from your pocket into a jar, something like 60 or 70% of all pennies minted are disappeared. Because
They're all going to Jeff's father-in-law.
Yes, a conservative estimate says there are 240 billion pennies lying around in the United States, about $7.24 for everybody living in the U.S.
All right, but let me ask two questions. If they're minted and disappear, isn't that good for the government? Because the government originally sells the pennies to the bank to sell to the store to give to us. Isn't that like?
Isn't there some
why would that be good?
That's seniorage, right?
I'm just saying, for the government's interest, they get extra money. It's like how I have an expired Metro card in New York.
No, I'll tell you why.
And there's still $5 on it, and I'm not going to go to the trouble of getting it back. So New York has my $5.
I explained this to you last week. This is called seniorage, when you make more money selling the coin than it costs to make it. The problem is it costs 3 cents to make a penny.
Right.
They're negative 2 cents for every penny they sell. It's reverse seniorage. So it's clearly a money loser. It's estimated that 2/3 of all the pennies made are out of circulation, gone. In fact, I'm surprised
in my basement right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I do think it would be great if we just had quarters. I think that would really make everything in my life.
God, she's going overboard. She's killing the nickel and the dime.
We don't need
needs
them.
nickels and dimes. What?
We just need quarters.
You lose
Quarters.
that great part
And
of
you know why you need quarters?
English is
Tell them why
nickel
you
and
need
dimey.
quarters,
You
Paris.
lose a whole verb.
I know why Paris needs quarters.
Laundry.
Yeah. I remember when I was your age, the constant battle to get more quarters so you could do your laundry.
I mean, if I'm going to be honest right now, I do not need quarters because
You've hacked the
only
laundry
the only
machine.
laundromat near me closed down to be replaced by a high rise. So I have to get my laundry picked up and done for me, which I mean is nice, but I pay via credit card for that.
Wait, would this be
now
a
a lot of
problem if the
machines-
banks actually could take our pennies? If we could give them $100 worth of pennies and give us $100 back, people
Well,
would do that.
Coinstar can do that.
Yeah, and
Pennies
they
though?
take 20% or something. They
Well,
take a huge,
but better than nothing.
I think it's the Coinstar lobby that's keeping pennies around.
Here's my other question.
What?
Is that retail pricing, so-called, is you don't charge $9, you charge $8.99. And because we think it's $9. And
Yeah.
so that penny is part of retail marketing.
But there's tax on top of that. So
Well, I mean,
and here's the thing.
then they will have to
Eventually-
do 95 cents, which
How much-
will be a problem for companies if they have to lose out in those 4 cents, but I think they'll survive.
Let me ask you, Paris, how often do you actually pay cash for anything?
It depends. I mean, I try to
carry
have
around
cash in
cash?
my wallet. Yeah.
I only
feel-
carry around cash for tips. Everything else is credit card or touch to pay. I don't buy things. Here's $5. Give me $5 worth of gas. Nobody does that anymore.
I mean, if
or do
I'm
they?
buying something that's like not a
magazine?
coffee, but is under like $6, I want to pay for it in cash because I know a lot of local merchants around here, it ends up costing them more money to pay the credit card fees.
Oh,
but
so you're very
Yeah,
thoughtful. You're very
my
kind.
grilled cheese black bean burrito at Taco Bell comes out to $5.32, and I pay cash.
oh,
pay
but
cash?
Taco Bell, you
minute.
don't need to be doing that for them.
Okay, first
But
of all,
I don't.
you pay cash, but you don't pay $5.32. You give them $6 or $10,
Oh, I give
and you
them
get
20
change.
so I can break it. Yeah.
And what happens to the coin?
I think
It goes in the middle part of my billfold, and I hate it. I hate that it's there. It makes it harder to close it. I will never see it again until it becomes too bulky that I have to do something about it.
And then I go to Starbucks though, and I tip in coins in Starbucks. So I
Edmund
use
Moy, the
coins
Mint's
then.
38th director from 2006 to 2011 says, I went to Congress saying, listen, I'm losing $90 million a year on pennies. I said, you guys need to pass a law forcing me to change it. The Mint knows it's a bad idea. They can't stop. Congress has to stop them. Obama said when he was president, it's a good metaphor for some of the larger problems of the U.S. government. It's very hard to get rid of things that don't work. You need legislation. And the problem is these guys at pennies.org are making sure that members of Congress want to preserve the penny.
So who owns that company? What is the company
That's
itself?
a good question. So let me find, the company's called Artisan, Artazn. They're in Greenville, Tennessee. For 43 years, Artisan has held contracts with the Treasury Department to manufacture the zinc blanks, because a penny is just zinc covered with a thin coat of copper to look like a penny, that the mint stamps in 1 cent coins. More than $1 billion in revenue since 2008 for Artisan. This company's lobbying efforts, according to Cherkowski, who is that? He worked at the Mint, I guess. I hate it when I have to go backwards in articles to figure out who Cherkowski is. Can they just put a link back to the first mention anyway? This person, I think a former Mint director of the Mint, or maybe PR for the Mint, said this company, Artisan's lobbying efforts, is the number one reason that coin reform bills die in Congress. Here's the funny thing. According to OpenSecrets.org, that tracks this, since 2006, Artisan has only spent $3 million on coin-related lobbying. We have the cheapest Congress money can buy. It costs you nothing. $3 million to make $1 billion. I'm in.
So it was known as Jardin Corp, and it rebranded
he's doing the research
to Artisan. It was Jardin Zinc Products.
So, a lot of credit to Katie Weaver. She writes for the magazine. And
Katie famously wrote one of my favorite New York Magazine pieces, which is "What is Glitter?"
She did. You know what? I think she's like you. She goes deep on the things that nobody really thinks about. We just accept as part of life.
Okay, here's an interesting fact about this. You want to know where this company started?
Artisan, where?
In a treasured American ball jars.
What?
They make ball jars?
The ball mason jars that grandmas used to.
That's the ball jar?
Because they were zinc tops.
Oh, this is such a fun fact, Jeff.
In 1934,
Tell me
the Ball
everything about
Brothers
it.
Company managed the largest zinc strip rolling mill in the world, creating new applications for the element along the way. And the company structure was evolving as well. A name change to Ball Corporation took place in 1969. 2 decades later, Altrista Corporation was formed, comprised of 3 previous Ball Corp companies. This entity became the nucleus of what became Jardin Process Solutions, a division of Jardin Corp.
By the way, this is so brilliant. So the ball jar folks split into 2 different divisions. Jardin, which makes the jars, and Artisan.
I didn't even get that. Yeah.
Artisan, which ends with ZN for zinc, which makes the lids.
Wow.
Jesus.
Artisan.
So, in May 2019, as Jardin Zinc Products was nearing its 50-year mark, Jardin Process Solutions was purchased by One Rock Capital Partners. Evil.
Oh, no.
Private equity. Private equity firm was focused on creating value by investing in high-potential middle-market companies.
What are you reading from right now, Jeff?
I'm reading from a business journal, bjournal.com.
Post it in the chat.
Tri-Cities, Virginia. I will do that. Post it to the chat right now. And so it was. I mean, this was a feature company about how change comes to a half-century-old company.
So when Artisan on its pennies.org lobbying site is, they have an FAQ of why we need pennies, and they say poor people use pennies. Did you know that?
Rich people give them pennies and nothing more.
Here, kid. Here's a penny. Go fetch me a turkey. Young and elderly and minorities use cash more frequently. Well, I'll buy you. I'll buy you that. But do they use pennies? Sociologists. By the way, this is a well-researched piece. Sociologist I consulted, whose fieldwork examines the economics of American poverty, said no. Carrying around bundles of hundreds of pennies to purchase a beverage doesn't seem feasible.
Well, when you're really pissed off at somebody and you lose a suit and you dump a whole truck worth of pennies on their driveway, that's useful.
That is pretty good.
The other people who need these pennies, they claim, pennies.org claims, are charities. The penny aids charities in raising hundreds of millions of dollars every year for important causes.
They're trying hard. They're trying so
Katie
hard.
contacted the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which Weller describes as relying significantly on small yet critical penny contributions to inquire about its coin dependence. Coker Powell, the executive VP and chief revenue officer, said the society has discontinued physical coin collection programs and donations of spare change had slowed in recent decades. Now, do stores in New York, do the bodegas and so forth still have the little thing at the front where it says, give a penny, take a penny?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Here or there, sometimes.
It seems like I see less of those, fewer of those.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't anymore.
You don't. Because we've given up. The pennies.org has won. We take the pennies, we put them in a bell jar in our basement, then we sell them to Jeff's grandpa.
I will say, I think the fun fact of the penny monopoly company being an offshoot from the bell jar company is my favorite genre of fun fact.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing.
This is going to be
onto that. Yeah,
something I cite to people forever. Much like a similar fun fact, which is, do you guys know Hydro Flask or OXO, the kitchen goods company?
Yeah, love OXO. Yeah,
they are plus I believe the same. They're the same. They're owned by the same company that also operates products like licensed under brands like Vicks, Honeywell. They're owned by this company called Helen of Troy.
Get the red string out, folks. We've got some connections.
Because Helen of Troy is notable because the company underwent a tax inversion where it basically reorganized into a Bermuda company in 1993. It basically did such a aggressive attempt at avoiding taxes that there are new tax laws in the U.S. named after it, called the Helen of Troy rules, to, I guess, prohibit about people trying to get away from their tax liability. And every single time I see a Hydro Flask or like a Vicks Vapor Rub or a kitchen
OXO.
tool from
Am I not
OXO,
supposed to buy
I'm
OXO
like,
stuff anymore?
I mean, I still use OXO stuff. It's great. But I just think it's very funny that they're owned by a company that did such a big tax aversion that there are rules based after it in the U.S.
They should call those the OXO rules, although the Helen of Troy rules is actually
pretty fun.
Pretty good. Yeah.
You know what's amazing about these private equity places is you try to search Google for One Rock Capital Partners. Nothing. Next to nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shell game because they keep changing names
exactly.
and changing companies. Yeah.
Well, search for Helen of Troy.
That's also hard.
What are you going to find, right?
Wait, I got to ask you though, like what if we do, let's say we phase out the penny, right? And then you're at a store and something costs $10.01. What happens?
There's
do you pay the 5 cents?
rule.
Do you pay the 5 cents or are they losing 1 cent?
Well, that's the thing now. We do round down, don't we?
Yeah.
Do we?
But the problem is
In what way?
Well, you to the closest
on your taxes and stuff. No, you got a point, Benito, because the problem is that fine, you could only do to the 5 cent price, but when sales taxes are a percentage, you will end up with pennies in
Exactly.
numbers.
So someone's going to lose. It's either us or it's going to be the corporations, and the corporations aren't going to lose. So I'm guessing that's why
They're
we
gonna
still have the
lose.
penny.
This is why
But
we
I
keep the
also
penny.
wonder
Not that
with, because what Jeff was talking about earlier, all these companies price their products like $3.99. So you don't think about the fact it's $4.
Right.
It's not like are they going to price it at $4 or are they going to take that 4 cent loss and price it at $3.95 so that you
Nobody's
don't.
going to pay cash. In 10 years, nothing's going to be cash, right?
That's a very privileged position, Leo.
Oh, Poco in our Discord says military bases overseas don't use pennies. If the cost is 1 penny or 2 pennies on something, they round down. And if it's like 3 cents or 4 cents, they round up.
Same in Canada, same in Australia. They don't have pennies in Canada. They outlawed them years ago.
Right.
By the way, they also don't have Coinstar machines. Katie says since debuting in 1992, Coinstar has processed 1 trillion coins worth $67 billion, of which they take 12.5% plus a service fee.
Honestly, I would have expected that to be higher.
So the coins are trucked to a regional processing center.
What happens to them then? Where do the
they're
coins
divided
go?
by denomination. I'm glad you asked. Most end up inside enormous white cubes called ballistic bags, many of which are distributed into locked cages designated by banks. When a ballistic bag of pennies, there's a phrase you don't hear a lot, is deposited into, say, a Bank of America cage, Bank of America sends Coinstar an electronic deposit equal to the value of the coin cube. Now, let's say a store needs pennies. It can call the bank to request a delivery. The bank calls them up from the cube and has them sausaged into penny rolls. You've seen those. When you were a kid, I bet even you, Paris, when you were a kid, did your parents say, here, roll these pennies?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was pennies, but a coin of some sort.
Coins.
Certainly.
Yeah. I loved my little bank that you put a coin in, and it would sort them out to the things, and then you'd put them in the rolls. Anyway, the rolled pennies are dumped into the compartment of a cash register drawer where they remain piled up until they're handed over as change in a cash transaction, and then into your cup holder, and then into your drawer, and then into the Coinstar machine for the round trip.
So you might want to know that One Rock also created a major merger in healthy hydration in selling us plastic bottles with free water inside. So Poland Spring, Deer Park.
Oh.
Wait a minute. The water's free? You're buying the bottle?
Yeah. Yeah, you're buying the bottle because we can get water anywhere. What the hell?
Wait, is that what I'm paying for when I buy water at the
buying
bodega?
the bottle.
I'm buying the bottle?
Yeah. onerock.com/portfolio.
And the gas it took for them to bring that bottle to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do not buy bottled water. I am so against bottled water. Look at this, Mike. My coffee is in a metal reusable thermos jar.
How many of those do you own? Reusable thermoses.
3 or 4. This
Okay,
is a
that's a
new one I
reasonable
just
number.
bought because I wanted it exactly the size that of my coffee maker. So I put it under the coffee maker and it drips it right into that. So that's nice. 14 ounces of fine brewed, freshly ground coffee from South Carolina right there.
Private equity. They own Petroplex, a
What's
leading
Petroplex?
pure play provider of acid stimulation and remedial cementing solutions in the Permian Basin. Let's buy that. They own.
Well, it's got, you got to get your acid somewhere.
It's true.
Jeez.
It's not from a guy in the street.
The pandemic actually caused a Coinstar crisis because people didn't use coins, right?
Well, there was already a coin shortage going into the pandemic, and it was made worse, obviously, by the pandemic. If I recall
Coinstar
correctly.
deposits dropped by 60% at the start of the pandemic, which turned into a panic. As a result, banks which rely on Coinstar to choreograph the nationwide coin recirculation ballet, such a good article, received 60% fewer coins than usual. That's why you saw the coin shortage. That's why.
Interesting.
Yep. There wasn't a shortage of coins. There were plenty of coins. They were just sitting in jars
They weren't circulating.
in Jeff's basement.
Because we were using
Pennies.
home delivery of our groceries.
She says Coinstar is practically the sole medium by which pennies churned out with Trochilidine Vigor. I don't know that word. Trochilidine. Wow. This is good.
Trochilidine?
Crocodilian Vigor. Trochilidine Vigor. Wait a minute. I got to find out what that means. Let me look that up.
As in
I can't even, my Mac doesn't even know. It doesn't have a definition.
Crocodilian?
No, Trochilidine.
hold on, say it all again.
Just look at it. Show my screen. I've got it highlighted. There it is. Trochilidine Vigor by the Mint migrate around the United States. Would you write a note to Katie? Do you know her? Would you write her a note saying, what the hell?
An adjective. Well, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Boy, folks, are we going down deeper and deeper in the rat hole? Trochilidine is an adjective that means relating to hummingbirds.
What?
It comes from the Latin word
Trochilidine.
trochildae and the English suffix "-ine". The earliest known use of the word was in the 1880s, Proceedings of the Zoological Society. Now, where the hell did she come up with that?
Okay, no, it's a group of hummingbirds, like a pack of wolves. It's a trochilidine of
the
hummingbirds.
pennies are churned out with Trochilidine Vigor by the Mint, and they migrate around the United States. I think that's a stretch, but anyway.
Like a hummingbird, fast like a hummingbird. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But
she's going to be very proud. It is her story is the first Google reference for the word.
There are 18,000 Coinstar machines in the United States. 92% of Americans live within 5 miles. I figured there must be other ones, but that's apparently kind of like dominate.
That's so interesting. I didn't realize Coinstar was
so interestingly.
It should be a penny stock that you cause a meme for. But you could start that.
All the other results when I search the word Trochilidine are either, dictionary definitions or people tweeting about this article.
Oh, of course that is. She got them.
Wait, Paris, I think you could start a penny stock rush here on Coinstar. I think you could experiment with it yourself.
Coinstar does not do well in Minnesota owing to the ferocious commitment to Midwestern friendliness. A disproportionate number of Minnesota bank locations still handle coins for free. You don't need a Coinstar. This is such a good article.
TD Bank was famous for having machines. They finally got rid of them.
Yeah. No, Coinstar ended up. This is an example of late stage capitalism. But maybe it's where capitalism succeeds. This company makes 12.5% plus 59 cents a transaction, taking your pennies and giving them back to the banks so they can give them back to you. What a business.
Okay, guess who owns Coinstar?
Not
private equity firm.
Yes, Apollo Global Management.
Oh my God.
Of course they do. Of course.
Apollo owns everything. So the Canadians dumped pennies and nothing bad happened.
How come I still have Canadian pennies?
It got rid of the penny in 2013 because it cost 1.6 cents to produce and is essentially worthless. They did not. Okay, so this is maybe the way forward.
Wait. Briefs aside, Coinstar in 2013 rebranded to be Outer Wall Inc. At that time, it had 3 separate components. One was Eco ATM, which I don't know what that is. The other part, Coinstar, and the third part, Redbox. Then when Apollo Global Management bought them, they became 3 separate business entities. Now Redbox is owned by Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, but it's gone under now.
Yeah.
That was a bad purchase by Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Was it ever?
I'm not surprised. I think if you name a company Chicken Soup for the Soul, you're kind of probably not the best business person in the world. Okay,
one more thing. How Coinstar ended up owning Redbox was in February 2009. It bought all remaining shares of Redbox from McDonald's, which I guess had previously
because McDonald's had Redboxes in franchises, I think.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
We're truly down the rabbit hole now, guys.
Oh, this is now a rat hole. It's much deeper.
But it is very much the case that Americans, and you've seen this as we've done this story, our audience, what are we going to do without pennies? No. Rounding opponents point out that a disproportionate number of prices, Benito, end in double nines. So companies will make all the money with their rounding up.
The largest single transaction Coinstar has done was $13,000 in pennies from a man in Alabama.
I was so excited.
How much does that weigh?
I can tell you a lot. If I went downstairs right now to get a box, a box of pennies is very heavy.
Actually, we know this because it's right up at the front of the article. Katie does all the research you'd want to know. And she tells us that $100 worth of pennies weighs over 55 pounds. So for every $100, 55 pounds. How much money?
Well, get a load of this. Pennies minted after 1983 weigh 2.5 grams each.
That's because of the zinc.
Minted between 1865 and 1982 weighed 3.11 grams each.
Copper's heavier.
Pennies minted between 1859 and 1864 weighed 4.767 grams each.
Jeff Gore, professor of biophysics at MIT, is the creator of what is now called Citizens to Retire the U.S. Penny. There are lots of problems in the world that are important.
Public equity is going to go after that person. They're going to do something awful to him.
Gore said, but this is not one of them. The cost of penny production is the dearest cost is not the money spent manufacturing and distributing them, but that the cent does the opposite of what currency is supposed to do, facilitate transactions. People think that because it exists and it is used, it means it's useful. It's not.
Is there a simple process to extract the copper from these pennies?
There's no
They're not made of copper.
Yeah, but there's some.
There's some.
Right?
Mostly you get a lot of bell jar lids.
Here's a question for you. In the old days, if your fuse went out, you risked death by putting a penny
That
where the
wouldn't work,
fuse was.
though, with
That won't
zinc.
work with zinc now, right?
No, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. It's probably saved many people's lives, actually. Well, anyway, Katie
I've
Weaver,
got more
well
detail.
done. Great article. Interesting use of Trochilidine, which is weird. It's funny that so many people...
When I was a kid reporter in the Chicago Tribune, there were a bunch of writers there who had a bet. They each had a word they had to manage to get into
That's fun.
a Tribune article. And I'll bet that's one of them. The friend I knew, this is going to be horrible, don't Google it. His word to get in, and he managed it, was smegma.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He managed to get it in. I don't know how, but he managed to get it in.
No, I think that was a perfect word to have that bet on, is Trochilidine.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And good luck if we can. I think we got to make it the title of the show.
Can you look up the pronunciation, Leo? Do a pronouncer on
yeah, we got to figure it because I can't do it as the title unless I can.
No, you
say
can't.
It. How do you spell it? Trochilidine? Oh, I can't even.
Oh, God, it's playing an ad. It's for me to listen to the pronunciation.
I can get the sound out of this thing here. How is the Here it is. Here it is.
Trochilidine.
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 The trochilidinization of twig.
Trochilididity.
Trochilidine.
Trochilidine.
The Trochilidine penny.
No, that's British. Can you
Should
switch
we
to
all
American?
flap really fast like
Trochilidine.
hummingbirds?
You know, it's funny. As you said, the only evidence for this word is up to now is from the proceedings of the zoological.
Where did it come from? I want to know, is it a word that Katie put in there or did her editor put it in?
Oh, I bet she snuck it in. I mean, that's the kind of detail you would pride yourself on getting that into a story, right, Paris?
It merely
I mean,
says
yes,
of
but
or
also
pertaining
it's the
to
sort of thing
hummingbirds.
that if you put it in, your editor would be like, what the heck is this?
She had
and take it
the
out.
editor was the one who had the bet.
Yeah, the bet sounds like the best theory.
It's got to be. It doesn't even really.
But give
fit.
it a sentence. Yeah, where is it in context again? Yeah.
She says the mint has a Trochilidine. Oh, let me find it
I
again.
think she was using it as a metaphor for speed, right? How fast they did something.
Yeah, how quickly the
Trochilidine
mint cranks.
Vigor.
Trochilidine Vigor. Do you know Katie Weaver? Do you know her?
I mean, no, I think I've met her at
I think you need to write her a
event
note.
or something once or twice.
I think we
but-
need to invite her on the show because if she does that kind of this
Well,
is
go
the
look up her
deep
byline. What
dives
else
this
does she
show
do?
I mean, she's a
lacks.
phenomenal journalist. She writes about the most interesting things.
She reminds me of you. I mean, this is the kind of thing
Yeah.
you would do, right? A deep dive into something completely obscure. Coinstar is practically the sole medium by which the pennies churned out with Trochilidine Vigor by the mint migrate around the United States. Hummingbird-like vigor. Yeah, I guess that fits. All right, we got to have some news. I get this is the time, the point in the show.
Our
in which I
fun
say
is
to
over.
you,
We have to get back to the news.
Fun is over. Paris and Jeff, you must come up with a better story than that. Good luck when we return. But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of This Week in Google brought to you by Experts Exchange. You can see why you want in the world. You want somewhere you can go where you can talk to an expert and ask them a question and get a good answer, not an AI-driven, made-up hallucination, but a real answer. When it comes to tech, if you're in tech, you need Experts Exchange. Join a network of trustworthy and talented tech professionals. By the way, don't just ask questions. You can answer questions too. Get industry insights and advice from people who are actually using the products in your stack instead of paying for expensive enterprise-level tech support. Or doing a Google search, and that's what most people do these days, right? If you have a tech question, you do a Google search, and the results are uniformly awful. I just saw a study that said something like 57% of the internet is AI generated. So your chance of getting a good answer is terrible. But when you go to Experts Exchange, you're getting a real answer, a good answer from a real expert. As the tech community for people tired of the AI sellout, Experts Exchange is ready to help carry the fight for the future of human intelligence. Experts Exchange gives you access to professionals in over 400 different fields. I'm talking coding, Microsoft Azure, DevOps, AWS, whatever area of technology you're interested in, you need help with. Unlike other places, there are no dumb questions. There's no snark. Duplicate questions are encouraged. You go to the site where they say, oh no, we've already answered this. Cancel. Not Experts Exchange. Their contributors are tech junkies who love graciously answering all questions. One member said, I never had ChatGPT stop and ask me a question before. That happens on EE all the time. Experts Exchange is proudly committed to fostering a community where human collaboration is fundamental. Their expert directory is full of experts to help you find what you need, including some of our listeners like Rodney Barnhart, VMware vExpert and a Security Now listener. Edward Van Billion, who is a Microsoft MVP and well-known ethical hacker. Cisco design professionals, executive IT directors. I can go on and on and on. And here's the other thing I love about Experts Exchange. Other platforms betray their contributors. You see it in the news all the time by selling the content, your content that you put there to train AI models. At Experts Exchange, your privacy is not for sale. They stand against the betrayal of contributors worldwide. Experts Exchange has never and will never sell your data, your content, your likeness. They block and strictly prohibit AI companies from scraping content from their site to train their LLMs. And the moderators at Experts Exchange strictly forbid the direct use of LLM content in their threads. You're getting real answers from real humans. And when people are on Experts Exchange, they love it. They love answering questions because the real reward for being an expert is paying it forward, passing your knowledge on to help someone in need. They get karma points. Sometimes they get extended education points. Experts deserve a place where they can confidently share their knowledge without worrying about a corporation stealing it to increase shareholder value. And humanity deserves a safe place where they get answers safe and away from AI. Join Experts Exchange today. They're so confident you'll love it. They're doing something unheard of. 3 months free, no credit card needed, because they know you're gonna love it and you're gonna want to stick around and you're going to participate. It is a great experience, a great community. 90 days free, no credit card required. Go to e-e.com/twit to learn more. Yeah, it's a 3-letter.com. That's how long they've been around. e-e.com/twit. Experts Exchange. Great people, great answers, and a place everybody needs, free from AI hallucinations. Experts Exchange. Thank you, Experts Exchange, for supporting This Week in Google, where we too are humans. And do not truck with AI intelligences in any way.
Except for you on the beach.
I love it. I love them. I want them. They can scrape my data like crazy. Would you be mad? Because it is actually your content too. Would you be mad if we sold all of our shows, all 10,000 shows, to OpenAI for scraping?
I don't have. It's not my decision.
Yeah,
I want to be included in the conversation.
Would the information sell your writing? You think?
Never in a million years.
Yeah.
Jessica has been our founder and editor-in-chief and CEO has been very adamant about that. The fact that all of these media companies that are striking big deals with OpenAI, they're making the same mistake that media companies did 5 years ago when they did the same thing with Meta.
Yeah, that was a mistake with Meta, wasn't it?
Why would it be any different with OpenAI?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we've already been scraped. Anthony Nielsen says we're on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Look, I've said it before. I think AIs deserve the best information.
I want it that if somebody goes to ChatGPT and they ask about Gutenberg, we come up.
Exactly. Or pennies.
Pennies?
Yeah.
Well, a podcaster once said.
All right. Paris, what story did you pick?
I picked this story from the San Francisco Chronicle that found out basically, I'll read the top. A Canadian tourist was visiting Oakland recently when he had to talk someone out of taking his Tesla from the hotel parking lot. This was no thief. It was the Oakland Police Department. Turns out the Tesla may have witnessed a homicide. The article is about how Tesla's Sentry mode, which is a security feature that uses the car's cameras to kind of record its surroundings when it's parked, is increasingly being used by police as evidence in criminal investigations. And this is, I mean, it really reminded me of what was happening with like Ring doorbell cameras, except for it seems like the police don't have to get a warrant for this, which is particularly concerning in my opinion.
Well, furthermore, they take your car. They don't just get the video. They have to take your car.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't have to be, I'm not consenting to being recorded every time I'm walking by a Tesla.
You're in public.
Well, but you're in
I mean,
public,
yeah,
so
I know,
you are.
but I just don't like it.
Well, you could
Tough
not
noogies.
like it.
You're being recorded on cameras on every street
Right now.
corner all over.
I mean, yes, I know. I'm just saying I don't think it's
You're being
good for our
recorded on a
society.
camera now.
So according to
Really? Oh my God, guys, I've got to go. I didn't
According to the
know
Chronicle, usually when they ask for a video, they get the owner's consent to download it, so they don't have to serve a warrant. And they usually don't have to tow it. But if they can't locate the owner and they need the video and they need it urgently, they'll take the car. But the Sergeant Ben Terrio, president of the Richmond Police Officers Association, was interviewed for this article, said it is the most drastic thing you could do. But you know what? They're investigating a major penny theft, and they need that video. You got to get a court order to do that.
Just to say, I mean, I think that's kind of ridiculous. If I was a Tesla owner, which I won't be, but I would think it's ridiculous that my car suddenly is a witness to any potential crimes around it and can be taken from me if the police need to search through the video footage. It's a bit.
Well, what's freakier is how do they know that your car was at the scene?
Well, here's what
kind of data that exists.
Here's the story. When officers arrived at the parking lot of the La Quinta Inn near the Oakland airport, shortly after midnight, they found a man in an RV suffering from gunshot and stab wounds. Later, he died. They also noticed a gray Tesla parked in the stall opposite the RV. In the search warrant affidavit obtained by the Chronicle, the officer said, I know that Tesla vehicles contain external surveillance cameras. They do in order to protect their drivers from theft or liability in accidents. Based on this information, this is the warrant. I respectfully request that a warrant's authorized to seize this vehicle so that the surveillance footage may be searched. The judge approved it. I think if you get a warrant, a judge approves it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I hope he gets the car back.
What would be freakier is if they knew who all owned Teslas and saw which Tesla was near an event through your cell records and then subpoenaed your Tesla because you were there.
Now, in this case, there's a happy ending. The Canadian tourist showed up as his car was being loaded into the tow truck. He intervened and volunteered the video, so the police released his vehicle. But
I feel like that's kind of coercive. If you see your car, you're walking over and they're like, yeah, sorry, we're going to tow your car unless you let us look at this video voluntarily. Of course, someone's going to be like, yeah, look at the video. I feel like there are greater privacy implications with this.
Well, I think God knows what the person was doing at the La Quinta by the Oakland airport.
Yeah, you don't want to be there. I can tell you.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of cars have cameras nowadays. In fact, I would imagine in the future, most cars, right? Cameras are cheap.
On the back. They have to.
Yeah, but newer cars often had front-facing cam. Mine does.
I mean, doesn't this concern you guys? Maybe I'm being the old person here, but I just don't like the idea that everything in life is now going to be recorded.
It already is, my friend.
I know, but that doesn't mean that I have to feel good about it.
No, I creeped out. Here we are in this little town of Petaluma. And every streetlight.
Home of the Butter Festival.
Home of the Butter Festival. Every streetlight has a camera on it. All the way down the street, you see camera. What are they looking for?
People who run red lights so they can send you a ticket. Like that's how they make
it's
money.
It's red light cameras, but these aren't just red light cameras. They're pointing in other directions. I feel like they just took advantage. Probably, you know what really happened? Some company went to the Petaluma City Council, and said, "You want to build a monorail? No? Okay. How about putting cameras on all the lights? Okay. I'm in."
Did we
That's
pay
also
you
part
in
of the police
pennies?
budget, probably, right? That's part of the police budget.
Sure. Absolutely.
And they get a lot of money.
Okay. What else? That was a good one. I liked it, Paris.
So I'm going to propose one that Paris and I both put in. I didn't notice it until just now. Line 69.
Oh,
NanoWrimo.
NanoWrimo.
Now, this is National Novel Writers Month or National November.
National Novel Writing Month, I believe.
Is November, though.
And it's November.
Do you do this, by the way, Paris? It feels like you
don't, but there were times I thought about participating in it when I was like in grade school. I think
Jesus, been around that long.
Work for us does it every year, I think.
Basically, what this is it is I guess now there's like a nonprofit organization associated, but it's a kind of community event of people who are interested in writing, where the gist of it is writing a novel is hard, but one of the hardest things about it is sitting down, doing the work, writing something every single day. The goal is to write a novel in 1 month. I think they have a specific number they target.
50,
it's like 50,000 words.
How many words are in the Gutenberg parenthesis, Jeff?
100,000.
So can you imagine writing that in 2 months?
Or in a month?
In 1 month? No.
Well, it's 50,000.
Oh, yeah. Times, yeah, two.
Oh, I see.
Magazine probably
math.
is 10,000 because it's a lot of pictures. How about the Web We Weave, the new one that's coming out? That's probably around 50, right?
That's more like 70.
I mean, so the thing that I think is important to know about this, to give context, is a lot of it is about community. Like, it is about building a community and teaching people who want to write a novel how to build the muscle of writing every single day.
And supporting
it's an organization and supporting each other. It is not about making the best possible novel in your single month. It is largely an event of endurance.
Yeah.
It
is
the
muscles.
Now to the news peg in the story.
The news peg is that NanoWrimo recently got in a lot of hot water because they put out new guidelines saying that they believe that new guidelines supporting AI use in NanoWrimo. Specifically, the thing that got them in trouble is they have kind of a whole section of their website where they say that criticism of using AI kind of writing generation tools in NanoWrimo is ableist and classist because, in their words, it does not take into account that people out there with disabilities might not be able to write at the same speed as, non-disabled people.
That's fair. But even more than that, it's just a club to get together to write. If you want to use AI to jog your writing, hell, if you want to write 50,000 words with an AI, who cares?
So I argued at the beginning of ChatGPT.
You're not saying,
well, it is a competition.
It is a competition. It is specifically.
I agree with you, but it's a competition.
It's a personal competition in a sense. It is about trying to write a lot in a short period of time, whether it's good or not. And so people online got very upset because they, I think and I kind of agree with this angle. I don't think that it's cheating. I just think that it's not particularly relevant to this example. Sure, if people want to use AI in writing tools, go for it. But it seems a little strange for the organization itself to be advocating for the use of AI tools to generate writing in a task that is all about simply just generating words on page.
Should you have to do it with a pen on paper?
Well, exactly. It's a tool. Let me defend NanoWrimo, whatever you say it.
NanoWrimo.
I can't stand the name.
I'm going to do, by the way, this next month, I'm going to do NanoWrimo-vember. I'm going to grow a mustache while I write a novel.
That's really smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when ChatGPT...
Or maybe even better, no, not NanoWrimo-vember.
Stop.
Never mind.
Stop.
Forget I said it.
So when when ChatGPT came out, I argued that it was a way to potentially expand literacy. People who were scared of writing could use this to help them write. Now, then in my executive program, one of the students who runs a site for First Nations in Canada and another who runs a site for imprisoned people said, whoa there, white man. You're suggesting to homogenize the language of all kinds of people to the hegemony of all publishing that came before. And I said, oh, you're right. But still, if you're in charge of the machine and what it turns out, and if you're intimidated because maybe English is your second language, or maybe you have dyslexia, or maybe you just are afraid of writing, if the idea is to get people over a hump and help them write, then whatever gets you there, I think should be seen as a fine and good thing. And so I side with them. The Atlantic, of course, came out, not surprisingly, with a snobby piece, because that's what they do, saying AI is coming for amateur novelists. That's fine. Because the point of this, too, is that you've got the writing establishment, the publishing establishment saying, no, this is all bullshit. Nobody can write. It's awful. It's all crap. You've got to suffer for your art. And rather than saying people are joining in to write what they feel and think and say, I think that's a good thing. Whatever got them there.
I don't think it's entirely about suffering for your art. Let me read something an artist, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, posted on Twitter this week. I did the NanoWrimo thing 15 some years ago. She writes, the main impetus and benefit of it was socialization. You would meet people online and in person, chat about books, have a buddy writing in parallel, like joining a marathon. In other words,
buddy, is that cheating?
Wait,
go ahead.
In other words, the point is not about output, but experience. This is what these companies don't understand. If I joined a marathon at the office, it wasn't because I really thought I'd win first place. It's because my colleagues to participate, we'd train together, have something to do, get together, celebratory dinner. I think that the core part of this, that it's not the output, it's the experience, is what
that's
about
for her.
This.
That's
no, but
her
I'm saying that it's a strange thing for an organization that their whole ethos is you're trying to get to 50,000 words. It's totally fine if you use AI to do that. I think it's a strange little pivot from them because part
is
of
the
what
goal
this
50,000 words, or is the goal getting over the hump and trying to feel like you could write?
Yes, but if you're not writing, how are you trying to feel if you can write? If you just type something into ChatGPT and I could say, write 50,000 words for me right now, would that count as me completing NanoWrimo? Technically,
only if you wanted to.
Well, if you wanted to, but if you got inspiration,
I think that there's another aspect of this, which is the way that NanoWrimo kind of couched this was about how it is classist or ableist to dismiss these tools because they are essential for people with disabilities to be able to participate in writing. And a lot of disability advocates and disabled people online took offense to this because I think it's frankly offensive to say that the only way that disabled people can participate in communal writing experiences is through AI tools that generate work for you.
I don't think they're saying it's the only way, but I think it's saying it's one thing. And it goes to, let's go to classes too. That you get the issue of people who believe they're not speaking classic English. And they're seen as lower class as a result.
But I'd rather have those people's voices heard in their original tone.
But what if that's not what they
filtered
want?
Through ChatGPT? I mean, I think that it's one thing. I think from a personal, individual perspective, anyone can do whatever they want. If someone wants to use ChatGPT and say it's for NanoWrimo, sure, good for them. I think it's a little strange when you, as an institution, come out with what was obviously going to be a big declaration. This is a really hot button topic in this community because people are worried about organizations like NanoWrimo selling their work to a AI company as content. I think that it was a bad move for them to do this.
I can see how
Patrick
Jeff, I would suggest that it is not writing, Jeff. I would suggest that saying, give me 50,000 words.
Not 50,000. No, I'm not saying about doing the whole thing.
I would suggest that's not writing, though, because that's more curation. You're seeing the outputs of the AI and then you're picking stuff. That's not writing. That's curating.
All creation is curation at some level.
Well,
that's Cory Doctorow's argument. That's the copyright argument. A. B. I'm not suggesting that you use it to turn on 50,000 words. Yeah, then what's the point? But I am saying that if you use it to help for inspiration, to improve it, to give you ideas, that would be forbidden in the ethos of some of these people. And I'm saying those could be perfectly legitimate ways to help you get over that hump, which is supposed to be the idea of this whole thing.
Are there rules, by the way, in this thing? In NanoWrimo, like there are rules, like.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I think you like upload to the website and whatnot.
Yeah, but what rules? Like how you write.
Don't use AI was an implied rule, I guess, because they said it's okay to use it.
Interestingly, according to Patrick Delahanty, who did do NanoWrimo twice in a couple of years back, he says that all of this started after NanoWrimo accepted an AI company as a sponsor.
Yes, so I was just about to say that one of the sponsors this year is Pro Writing Aid. And if you go to their website, they describe it as providing actionable advice to improve your writing. So one example they give is you may have written the sentence, "The ocean was bathed in a serene atmosphere as the golden sunset painted a tranquil scene." And you could ask Pro Writing Aid to expand that. And then it gives you this. "As the sun began to set, its golden rays spread a peaceful ambiance that enveloped the entire ocean. With its golden hues, the setting sun created a sense of tranquility that washed over the vast expanse."
I think this is fine, but I mean, this is one step past using Grammarly. Are you allowed to use Grammarly when you're writing?
I mean, I think that certain aspects of it, yes. I think that if you're using it I think in this case, if you're using Pro Writing Aid or Grammarly to construct whole sentences for you, they're more of a co-author.
See if this was a competition and there was a prize. But the whole point of this is to write, to get you to write however you want to write.
I feel like that's what makes it even worse, though. It'd be one thing if there was a competition and there was a prize and people would say it's unfair. The only person that's being cheated are the people who are using these tools.
Let yourself. Then they get to choose that.
Yeah, they get to get some over the hump.
It's none of your business if I want to cheat myself.
I mean, I agree. I think from an individual perspective, yeah. Go for it, do whatever. I think from an institutional perspective, it's a strange hill to die on.
Maybe I like to see 3 different ways to cast a sentence because it helps me think about how, and then I'm not going to use any of those 3, but I'm going to rewrite my sentence in a way that's more interesting.
See, what NanoWrimo does is that writers we think we're so special as writers. And so we pull the ladder up after us and say, no, writing is hard. And then what the ethos behind, I used ethos 3 times, sorry. What the moral behind, I think where this started was,
I think everybody can write more often, please. So say zeitgeist a lot. No, I agree with you. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt with my stupid joke.
What was it?
It was an AI made me do it. I think this is a tempest in a teapot, honestly.
No, it is. That's what's funny about it.
Yeah, and
in Paris, I think I can see the slack where one person raises the woke idea. Well, what about people who are disabled and other people don't know how to argue?
So
and they say,
if you're a marathoner,
and I bet there wasn't a big discussion of this.
And you're training to run a marathon, and you happen to only have one leg, and you have a artificial leg, or maybe even an artificial leg with springs that help improve your running. Should you not be allowed to run the marathon? Maybe you shouldn't be able to compete in the same category as able runners, but you should be allowed to run the marathon. That's all we're saying. It's if somebody has a artificial leg, they can still run marathons, right?
For sure.
What is that? Right? And okay, it's fine if there were a competition in like the best 50,000 words or something like that, then I can understand. But you're not saying that nobody reads the 50,000 words.
Who reads all this?
They just throw them out.
I mean, there are other writers. I think that part of what ended up being a problem here is not like any decision they made, because frankly, the decision they made is we're not endorsing use of AI writing tools. It is a question of framing.
Yes.
It is. I mean, let me read the part on classism.
But they lost some people.
They lost quite a few board members because of this. They say not all writers have the financial ability to hire humans to help them at certain phases of their writing. For some writers, the decision to use AI is a practical, not an ideological one. The financial ability to engage a human for feedback and review assumes a level of privilege that not all community members possess. And I think that's fair.
That's a fair
point. But I think it is also a bit of a myopic, like it is, if we want to talk about classism in AI, it is a much more complicated topic than three sentences approaching it from one side of the angle
Boy, these poor
indicate.
NanoWrimo people are so depressed now. They said, why do we even start this thing?
I think that part of the outrage is also fueled by fears that, because part of, I believe, how the NanoWrimo website works is you use their system to write your novel. And people are worried that the text of their work could be used by this
AI
company.
paranoia going on here. AI is going to replace us. AI is evil.
AI is being trained on our NanoWrimo novels.
It's trained. It's stealing from us. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
There's definitely, we're starting to polarize into pro and anti-AI groups, aren't we? We're starting to, it's interesting. I don't know if that's the right thing to do with AI, because, they're just going to divide and conquer. The new VWs will have Chat GPT built in.
Why?
And
why?
Volkswagen's in-car AI will use Chat GPT and a multitude of cloud-based models to answer drivers' questions.
No.
When was the first CES in Las Vegas, and how many people visited? Pay attention to the road. Don't be asking stupid questions while you're driving.
Yeah, Google Assistant will not answer that kind of question now when you're driving. It will not answer an informational question.
How much more would you pay for Amazon Echo? Now we know that they're apparently going to use Anthropic's Claude for their remarkable Alexa. It's remarkable.
Nobody used it before. That was the problem.
But now maybe they will.
Yes, that's what's remarkable. Amazon's revamped Echo for release in October. $5 to $10 a month for what they're calling the remarkable A word. I don't know if I can say the A word or not. If I go,
as Stacey used to say.
Alexa. Does that trigger anybody, or just
did your dump button?
Just have a dump button. You'll still be able to get the stupid Alexa if all you want is recipes and timing and stuff like that. So did the Atlantic say that's fine? It's okay if for amateur novelists, we don't care?
Well, they kind of say let them destroy, because they're not really writers.
They're just amateurs.
Oh, boy.
They're not writers like us. Yeah, what do you expect?
That's hysterical.
Just let the robots do
this
it.
whole thing did make me go back and look into, when I was a kid, I was really into fan fiction. I wrote a bunch of fan fiction, so I went to go look at my account. At age 13, wrote 102,000 word fan fiction.
Jeez.
With what time?
But
in
wait a
like
minute.
6 months.
You weren't
What
working.
the world wants to know is
What was it about?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not giving any more details because I don't want anyone to find it. It was about an anime, is all I'll say.
Okay, all right.
Sexy?
It was sexy in the 13-year-old way, and I think the characters kissed a couple times. And I remember having to go and read other fan fiction where people kissed to make sure that I wrote
know
it
how it
correctly.
worked?
I did a lot of research on kissing, if you can believe.
Oh my God, is that cute?
Up there, I have the one novel I ever wrote.
You wrote
It's
a
in a
novel?
box.
The one you wrote in Berlin that was bad?
Yes. Thank God no one published it. I'm just delighted. And so if I had done that in public, I'd be humiliated to this day. Somebody could find it.
By
I
the
mean, that's
way,
why I can't say any further.
Anthony Nielsen
Yeah, I
is
know the
proposing a Club Twit exclusive, a radio play with Paris's fanfic.
You guys would have to pay me a lot of money to do that.
Come on, Paris.
Oh, come on.
So much fun.
Bring it to lunch with Leo and me.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll do a reading.
We'll do a table read.
Yeah.
I'll run. I'll jump in front of a train.
I've always wanted to write a novel.
Is it in digital form or is it in print?
It's in digital form. It's on the website.
So somebody can find
it. Had hundreds of reviews. It was, people still
know
to this
what to
day
do, Russia.
ask me
If you're listening, Russia.
Listen, if you guys can find what I'm talking about, I'll be very impressed. I've not given you many details because I don't think you'll be able to do it.
You just issued a challenge to our audience.
Listen.
Yeah, but it's obviously it's not ever her real name.
Yeah, I know.
So, and
We'll
I
see.
imagine there's more than one 13-year-old anime fan fiction.
That's over 100,000 words.
That's over
Yeah, I'm
100,000
guessing there's
words.
quite a lot.
Yeah. And it's going to be a tough one.
Good luck,
Can
guys.
you post an excerpt?
No, because then you'll find it.
Oh,
'Cause
One
it's
character's
searchable.
name. Come on, just one.
No.
she's not going to give us any information.
No.
Nope. The challenge has been issued.
You are watching This Week in Google with fanfic writer Paris Martineau and novelist, wishful novelist,
Failed novelist
Jeff Jarvis. I always wanted to write a novel, but I think because of my aphantasia, this is my excuse. I can't.
because you can't see an apple.
Because I can't see an apple. I can't visualize what I'm, I can't put it down on paper. When you guys are writers, when you do fiction anyway, can you see what you're? Then she approached his turbid lips with Trochilidine.
She was only
frenzy.
13, Leo. You're getting edgy here.
Do you see the apple?
I don't recall, because it was probably the last time I wrote fiction, honestly. But yeah, I do receive the apple when I'm writing.
Leo, when you hear the story of William Tell, do you envision an apple?
No, it's just all fuzzy.
That's
So I asked Daniel
You still
Suarez,
can't picture your wife's face, right?
No, I can't see my kid's face.
Do you know what color their eyes are?
Oh, I know that. But that's the thing. I know abstract details. I could describe their face, but this is why I always thought police sketch artists. I didn't understand it because how do they know what the face looked like that you could describe it to them? And what I didn't understand is people see the face in their head and they're describing it to the sketch artist. All I have is abstract knowledge about the face.
Adjectives.
It had a nose. What kind of nose? I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, if the nose were big and red, would you?
I might remember
record
that
that
detail,
as a fact. Okay,
but I wouldn't see a big red nose. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're thinking about the Wayfair delivery guy who you saw briefly when you were going downstairs
Just
to get
a
coffee
brown
before the
blob.
show. Any
a brown
details you
blob.
remember about them?
No. Short, brown blob. That's
Okay.
it.
You'll be very useful if a crime ever happens.
Not good for writing a novel. A brown blob.
yeah, his car will be better than he is.
Moistened with anticipation. I once asked Daniel Suarez, accomplished publisher, published best-selling author. I said, I can't see things. Do you see things as you write them? He said, yeah. What the hell are you talking about, dude?
Weird.
I lost a button. Don't mock my. I'm not trying to get.
Were you getting
You can't see it behind the mic, honestly.
I'm trying to. Somebody has. Poco saw it. He's talking about it in the chat room.
Wow.
AI's impact on elections is being overblown, says the MIT Technology Review. Felix M. Simon, Keegan McBride, and Sasha Alte writing.
So
you wrote a précis of this on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, but you can also the article's not long.
Yeah,
and importantly, this is three people I respect. Well, one I know and respect. Felix Simon is now the head of research for the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism at Oxford. Keegan McBride is in the Oxford Internet Institute, and Sasha Alte is University of Zurich. And I found this really good piece because it at a lot higher level says that a lot of panic about information goes wrong, and they have a few very clear reasons. First, mass persuasion is notoriously challenging. Plenty of communication theory about this, that the hypodermic view that you can say something to somebody, you're going to persuade everybody, is BS. Second, for a piece of content to be influential, it has to reach its intended audience, and with the crush of content out there, that's all the harder. Third, emerging research challenges the idea that using AI to micro-target people and sway their voting behavior works as well as initially feared. Voters seem to not only recognize excessively tailored messages, but actively dislike them. And fourth, voting behavior is shaped by a complex nexus of factors. All kinds of media exposure, all kinds of memories and factors, all kinds of social things. So this whole idea that, oh my God, AI is going to ruin the election is going down the wrong path. But you could just substitute AI for Russian disinformation or for social media or for anything else. It's not that simple. And so now we have plans announced today about what to do about Chinese disinformation in the election. And yeah, we should worry about trying to fool people when they vote and that kind of stuff. I agree. But basically, there have always been idiots. There's idiots out there. And it hasn't shown to have had much effect. So maybe a lot of our talk and a lot of our efforts are going down the wrong path. So I thought this was a good piece.
Yeah, I've skimmed through it. They're arguing for restraint instead of panic. They say that in the 100 elections since 2023, there's only, in more than 100 national elections, just 19 were identified to show AI interference. But I would point out that's 19%.
That's
not an
19%.
insignificant.
And,
at what level?
AI has only really become in vogue recently.
Yeah. The evidence did not demonstrate clear signs of significant changes in election results. But I think it's a little facile to say
for bad.
Mass persuasion is notoriously challenging. Isn't it accepted that Goebbels was able to use radio to good effect in Nazi Germany?
There was a lot more going on than broadcasting.
Yeah, well, those rallies with the big flags and the martial.
I would say that the first worst thing that was invented is the loudspeaker.
And the guy notoriously who invented the loudspeaker was depressed that he enabled the Nazis for his whole life.
Who was really?
That? Yeah, that's the story. That's his story.
Who was
goes to show you never invented.
Forgot his name,
kids.
but I read that story.
Invented the loudspeaker.
Yeah, he was like, he feels responsible for what happened.
You know, maybe the loudspeaker had more impact than radio.
If only like our current tech moguls had the same humility.
His name was Loudspeaker.
Benito, I really want to know that because that's for the next book.
Okay, well,
about the rest. I really want to know that.
Well,
so I did have a thing about the loudspeaker in the Gutenberg parenthesis, but it was one of the things I cut out.
Who invented the first loudspeaker? Johann Philipp Reis installed an electric loudspeaker in his telephone in 1861. I think that's a little earlier than the Nazis.
No, that's not the PA system. The guy I'm talking about.
Oh, PA system.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, because the loudspeaker was first used soon after the turn of the century.
Yeah.
I was
Hitler
talking about the guy who
needed amplification, right?
Yeah.
Here's the history of the PA system.
Stephen Robert Pearson of Lancashire, England, is credited with.
Well, anyway, there's a lot of information here.
You could argue the worst thing that was ever invented, I'll put it differently, was the amplifier.
Yeah. Well,
because all you could do before was speak to the people who could hear you, given the acoustics. That was the largest crowd you could get to. Print expanded that, but that required expense and effort. With the amplifier, you could increase your voice beyond that. And then begins the mass. Anyway.
Sorry, now I'm trying to find this anecdote, which I've got to stop.
We're all doing our research now instead of doing a show. So if you just pause this,
come back in about 20 minutes.
A few minutes.
I might have an interesting anecdote for you.
History of the loudspeaker. AI may not steal many jobs after all. It just may make workers more efficient, says the Associated Press.
We're going to find either or stories like this going all the time, but I think it's worthy not to presume that it's going to get rid of jobs.
I think there are a lot of, right now, there's evidence that we have some advertisers who, for instance, use AI in customer service, and their experience has been it helps customer service be more effective, the humans be more effective by doing triage. They can solve a lot of simple problems quickly so that the customer service reps only have to talk to people who have more complicated problems. And their evidence is that both customers and the reps are happier because of it.
It only works if customer service is empowered to solve your problem.
Exactly. You have to think of it that way. It's not, yes. It's
Let me explain to you our policy and why we don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, phone trees don't make people happier. That's for sure. No. Yeah. Let's see. How Oprah will screw up the AI story. You remember, did we talk about
show?
Did we talk about this on this show, or was it on Twit?
I don't think so.
It was on Twit.
So Oprah Winfrey is doing a special about AI. It'll be called The Story of Us later this month. The reason we started talking about it on Twit is because one of the people on it will be Marquez Brownlee, YouTube star and tech reviewer
and a major Frisbee star.
Yeah, I saw that article as well. Marquez is on a roll, but when I saw a picture of him with Oprah, I thought, yeah, I think Marquez has made it. So this is the show. It's going to be called AI, The Story of Us. Sam Altman's going to be on it.
So is the dreaded Tristan Harris.
It's an interesting review. I mean, of AI, and I guess Oprah's plan is to make it accessible so that everybody can understand it, which I admire that, but I don't know.
I don't know if these are the people to do it.
These are the people. Watch AI in the Future of Us, September 12th. There's Oprah.
Done by AI, no doubt.
Sam Altman will explain how AI works in layman's terms.
Should we watch
he's got
it?
A little dog in this.
Oh, we have to.
Should we do a live?
Bill Gates.
Oh, we should do a live. Yeah.
Oh, I would love.
Should we
to
do a
that.
Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Yeah.
It would just be mostly us spitting our coffee out. Bill Gates will lay out the AI revolution coming in science, health, and education. YouTube creator and technologist Marques Brownlee will walk Winfrey through mind-blowing demonstrations. See, right there.
Yeah.
That's exactly
that's
how
rough. It's not
mainstream
what we
media
want.
treats this stuff. Mind-blowing demonstrations of AI's capabilities. Tristan Harris and Asa Raskin, co-founders of Center for Humane Technology, walk Winfrey through the emerging risks, sounding the alarm.
Moral entrepreneurs.
FBI Director Christopher Wray reveals the terrifying ways criminals and foreign adversaries are using AI.
Moral panic.
Pulitzer Prize-winning author Marilyn Robinson reflects, I will reflect on AI's threat to human values and the ways in which humans might resist the convenience of AI. AI and the Future of Us, an Oprah Winfrey special.
When does it air?
September 12th, 8 p.m. That's a Thursday on ABC, and the next day it'll be on Hulu.
If we were both not on vacation.
Yeah, well, the problem is Leo would have to watch it on the West Coast, and I have to watch it on the East Coast, and we couldn't.
I'll be on a boat.
He'll be in a boat. Okay, never mind.
I'll be in Croatia.
There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of need for something that can explain AI to
just
everybody.
Oprah Winfrey's not who I would think would.
I don't think this is
party to do it.
It also feels like it's a little bit too much. Let's get everybody in here, and
Well, that's what she.
there's not going to be any clear. I don't know.
I was on Oprah Winfrey's
I'll
show
reserve my
twice.
judgment till I see it. But my current thought, reading the list of people scheduled to speak, is that it will be a lot of hype.
Sam
Oprah's
Altman and Bill
upcoming
Gates.
AI television special sparks outrage among tech critics. This is from Benji Edwards at Ars Technica. AI opponents say Gates, Altman, and others will guide Oprah through an AI sales pitch.
If it was really that good, the AI would do the whole show, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Sure is nice of Oprah to host this extended sales pitch for the generative AI industry at a moment when its fortunes are flagging and the AI bubble is threatening to burst. It certainly will stimulate more investment, won't it, in AI companies? Artist Carla Ortiz, who is one of the plaintiffs suing AI, the way the experts who are not experts are presented as such, what a train wreck. There's still plenty of time to get actual experts and have a better discussion on this. Yeah, I mean, Timnit Gebru might be good to have on.
Yeah.
I feel like Sam Altman's the wrong
Oprah to
person.
say Tescriel.
Yeah,
Yes.
we won't hear
that's that's like the smegma of AI.
Oh, if only the title for this show could be The Smegma of AI.
It's not going to be. I can tell
I
you
know.
right now.
I'm saying if only we lived in a world where that would be
Your
allowed.
friend Ed Zitron, you want to know what he said?
Probably something like the smegma of AI, I'm guessing.
I think smegma is his favorite word. He says Marques Brownlee should be absolutely ashamed of himself. What a disgraceful thing to be
That's so Ed.
associated with.
That is so Ed.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know if that's true. I mean, look, I used to go on Regis and Kelly and tell them about technology.
Yeah, but you'd explain things. You didn't.
Well, I did the same thing
You
as
didn't
he
sell fear.
Dev Null would explain things.
Dev Null. Hey, she should have Dev Null on. I would set him straight on AI.
Show Ed how much he got paid, and Ed would probably be like, "Oh, all right."
I don't just.
I didn't know. I think Ed would be like, "This is disgusting."
I don't think they're going to pay him more than scale, which is about $1,000. I doubt.
Way for a show like this.
No, Marques Brownlee
like
is
this?
definitely getting paid.
Or Marques Brownlee?
Think they're not paying Bill Gates or Sam Altman.
Yeah.
No, I think ABC is going to treat this as a news special, and they're going to pay you scale. Not $10,000. Maybe they will.
Oprah's money. Oprah money.
Oprah can afford it.
You got a point though that the rest of them aren't going to take the money. Even Tristan Harris. Well, Tristan
Yeah, but
Harris
they're there for the
charges a
marketing.
fortune.
They're for the marketing.
Yeah. I would be disappointed if ABC pays more than Scale for this. You shouldn't. A news organization should not pay.
What is
people.
Scale?
Scale is the union scale,
Minimum.
which would be about $1,000.
Union
I don't know
minimum.
what it is today, but
Are you members? You a member of the union?
I was SAG-AFTRA. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if Marquez is though. There's no reason for him to be in the union.
Why would he be?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be. He's
I'm
independent.
not. I'm
Influencers are
not in the union
famously
anymore.
not
I'm in
union.
abeyance or whatever, so I don't have to pay dues.
You want to show his Frisbee video?
I've
pretty
seen
impressive.
it this so many times. I don't want to be part
Oh,
of
okay,
the
don't
Marquez Brownlee promotion engine. All right.
No.
I've got something else we can
talk.
talk about if we don't want to talk about the Frisbee video.
You go. Yes.
It's very important.
I'll tell you what. While you talk about that, I will show Marcus Brownlee
Well,
on NBC.
my thing, we have to.
The
see
internet's favorite
as
tech
well, so
reviewer
I'll
is
wait.
also an elite ultimate Frisbee player. He is, though. He's really good. I
Yeah,
I
it
will
was
show you this.
impressive.
Look at this. Watch this catch.
Look at that. Look at that.
Watch this catch. He leaps into the air, thousands of feet above the others, snags the Frisbee. Can you beat that?
Huh?
Anecdotally, ultimate Frisbee players in New York City are some of the worst, most annoying people I've ever met.
They're
Are
bros.
real people?
They're bros, but in like a crunchy way that's kind of annoying, you know?
They're bros
like-
with man buns and
Yeah, like
bead
liberal-esque bros.
What's the deal with all the bead bracelets, the things, the strings, and all that?
I don't like
What is
it.
that? What's the deal with all that?
People just, I don't know. I can't wear it because it irritates my arm hairs. So I feel frustration whenever I see a bunch of bracelets.
Pretty much life irritates my arm hairs. I don't, none of it.
Okay, so my
Yes.
thing is very important. The winners of Michigan's 2024 I Voted sticker contest have been revealed. And I frankly want all of them, even though I don't live in Michigan.
Look at these. These won.
Yes.
So traditionally, when you go to the polls, you get a nice red, white, and blue American flag sticker that says "I voted."
Click the first one, which was
Not
done
in
by an
Michigan.
elementary schooler.
Not in Michigan.
How
Here's
great
a
is
wolf.
that? Imagine
I
if you go to your
voted.
polling booth and you get a werewolf pulling off a ripped
Bra.
shirt in front of
A
an
bra.
American flag.
That's wild. Here's
That was
another
by
one.
Jane Highness in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, of Brownlee Middle School.
It's Vody McVoteface.
It is. This has become a thing now. That's by an adult, I believe.
Probably
yes.
a childless cat lady, since it is in fact a cat in the hat.
Yes. If you go to the webs, this one just has the bigger ones. I think that one's cute. It's a fish.
This is my favorite one.
That one is by another elementary schooler.
I voted.
Gabby
Yay.
Warner in Rockford,
Yeah, that's my
Michigan.
favorite.
Honestly,
That's
that's
good.
the one I'd wear. Of all of
Yeah.
those, that's the one I'd wear.
If you click the link below this in the rundown, it brings you to the full page with all of them, or it might have that farther in the Twitter thread. There's one that says, "I'm cool, I voted," which is nice. Also,
So
by,
are all of these going to be made into stickers?
so I believe what happens is they will all be available for election clerks to order for the November election. So election clerks can choose which
They get
ones
to
they
vote.
want to get. You know,
Yeah. The
but
deer
these
and
are the
ski
winners.
goggles. That's good. Yeah.
That's good.
that's by a high schooler.
Yeah.
This is also by a high schooler.
That's pretty. I kind of like that. Yeah. Oh,
I like this one. That seems
This is-
very.
I think that's a
Michigan.
Michigander thing. Oh,
Yeah, I voted.
I voted. Huh. Okay. I like it.
Yeah,
I like
I don't
it.
know. I just thought it was fun.
Yeah,
Credit to the winning artists. God
That
bless you,
wasn't
Michigan.
even her pick. That was a
That's not my
generous
pick.
gift to the show.
That was a gift to the show. You guys can get that one free of charge.
And you can
You
go to the
will
Michigan
have to
Department of
subscribe.
State if you'd like to see
Yeah.
all of them, and you can order them. Well, maybe you can't. You have to be an election clerk.
Yeah, if you're an
What if-
election
do you
clerk,
think they'll have
you can order
a
'em.
slate of unofficial election clerks ordering these?
God, they better order the Jane Highness one. The werewolf one is fantastic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. It's absurd. It doesn't fit the election theme whatsoever. A middle school girl made it, and America made it an official election sticker. And I think that's what this country is all about.
America made it an official
America
election
voted.
sticker.
America voted,
voted.
and that werewolf did too. And we've got to respect that.
They were in categories. She was in the elementary and middle school category. There were also high school winners, and then the general entry winners. See, adults are too uptight.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You got to go to the youngs for the really good. I'm cool.
Gabby's my favorite.
Yeah, I like Gabby's. I'm gonna get Gabby's.
I voted yay. I like the backwards E. It's pretty good and voted.
Yeah, let's make this. Let's print these up and
Hello, Joe Esposito. You're the sticker guy.
And who put in Diggnation 2.0?
I did.
So this is
I didn't know that it was returned.
Our old friend Kevin Rose and Alex Albrecht, who did for many years.
Did you know
a show called
Diggnation, Paris?
No.
Oh,
it's drunk guys talking about tech news.
It's this show.
We don't have any
wine.
of that.
And now it's wine, and I think they're gonna do one, and I doubt. Do you think they'll keep doing it for a while?
I don't know.
10,000 views, 49,000 subscribers. It's like they never left, it says.
Prager
but honestly,
was there and back.
It looks like maybe it's a few years later.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Just a little bit. I'm not gonna judge. I'm a little older too. And they're a little older, and they're maybe a little richer too, maybe just a little bit. So
yeah,
it's a nice looking home.
That hat, I can't afford that hat.
Yeah, you probably can't. Literally.
No.
Kevin was on the show. Kevin Rose is one of the original Twit cast members. He was on the show a few months ago, and he's wearing a kind of a nice sweater, merino wool. I said, "Oh, that's nice. How much is that? $4,000." I said, "Okay, thank you." Android changelog. We'll do the right after this word.
The Google changelog.
That's the word. Android has five new features out today. Count along with me, folks. TalkBack now runs on Gemini. TalkBack's a screen reader tool designed for blind and low vision users. I don't know. Do you really want an AI model telling you what's on that screen? It'll power the audio description for images.
Yeah.
Chrome will read out loud to you now using text to speech, and it's pretty good. Circle to search, you know about circle to search. Well, now you can search for music.
How do you
use your
search a
device's
song?
microphone to analyze music. It's only rolling out right now to the Samsung S24 devices. Oh, no, more devices are coming. You can long press your device's navigation bar, tap the music icon to begin searching. It works for songs you hum or sing yourself, as well as music playing from your phone or another source. One of the things I love about the Pixel is it will tell me the soundtrack of my life. It will actually keep track of all the songs I hear as I'm walking around and then give me a list.
What? So it's always recording?
It's always listening. Recording is such
and you
a
like that?
big word. It's Shazam. You know Shazam? It's just Shazamming all the time. It's always
That's creeping out Paris. She's going to do an expose on this. Yep.
Don't like
really?
that.
But how often you're like at a hair salon getting your coif and they play a song, you go, I like that song. All you have to do is look at your phone and it'll tell you what the song is.
I mean, I just look at my phone, press one button, and then it tells me what the song is.
Just like that. Only this way you don't have to remember to press the button. Always be Shazamming. Android earthquake alerts have been expanded to cover all U.S. states as well as 6 territories, even if they don't have earthquakes. When's the last earthquake you've had in Brooklyn?
We had one. Yeah, we had a one.
In the last year, we had a big one.
Yes,
I'd go to New York City. We're having a meetup at Bryant Park. Leave California, and there's a massive earthquake in New York.
Yeah.
When was that earthquake? Was it?
It was about 3 months ago.
3 months? Yeah. I missed it. I had headphones on. I was in a grocery store, and I didn't notice it at all.
Yeah.
But
if you had a real earthquake, you would not miss it.
Yeah. No, I don't.
We were in a restaurant, aftershocks, which probably affected the cat.
Yeah,
we didn't feel them, but the cat was going wacky.
A couple of years, maybe it was a year ago. Lisa and I were having dinner at a restaurant, and everybody's phone in the restaurant went beep, earthquake, and nobody had felt it yet because it gets early warning. And then a few seconds later,
what did you do?
Dived under the table, Felt like an idiot because it wasn't a really big earthquake.
No, did you really?
No, I did what everybody does. Go, what the hell?
Yeah. You're trying to put a
By
good
the
model
time I
here of what you
realized
should
there's
do.
an earthquake, there was an earthquake.
And then you see all the gum underneath the table, and it's really disgusting.
They do. It's kind of cool because you do get an early warning. It's not like a long time, but a few seconds might be enough to get somewhere safe. New Google Map feature for smartwatches on Wear OS. Does anybody have one of those?
No.
Offline map access. Download the map on your phone, and then you can go to Google Maps on your watch, and you'll see those offline. Thank you to Lifehacker for those 5 new Android features. Because if somebody didn't write it up in an article, I don't think I would have noticed, to be honest. To be perfectly honest. Yeah. Google says it's removing poor quality Android apps from the Play Store.
So this one's relevant to the discussion the other day about antitrust and the Play stores, the app stores. I mean, this is what you want them to do. This is value add. You said, do they add value? Yes, they add value. They get rid of crap.
They citing a desire to provide a stable, responsive, and engaging user experience. On August 31st, they removed apps with limited functionality and content, static apps without app-specific functionalities. It's just a picture, text only or PDF files, apps with a small amount of content that don't provide an engaging user experience. I voted. Single wallpaper apps. Google's also removing apps with broken functionality, such as apps that crash, freeze, force close, or otherwise function abnormally. Some say, well, should they be able to do that? I think yes. I think that's probably okay. In fact, Apple wouldn't let those apps through, and certainly would pull them if they change dramatically. So I think that's fair. Google Clock is rolling out a new timer starter widget.
Ooh.
Widgets can really be fun and useful, or they can take up a lot of screen space for very little functionality.
When was the last time you installed a widget? I haven't installed a widget in years.
Oh, I have
I have
lots
a
of
widget.
Yeah.
What's
I've
your
got
widget,
one.
Paris?
It's a Carrot Weather, and a weather app that yells at you. But it also is very powerful and lets you choose a bunch of data sources. And I've got a widget on my home screen that tells me weather stuff daily. I also like it because having the widget on my home screen means that I keep my daily streak of using Carrot, which I've had since 2017. So
you get like a badge for that or something?
Carrot just tracks stats in the back of it, and I just like looking at them. Like it tracks what's the highest temperature you've ever been in or lowest.
Oh, that's kind of
and
cool.
how many days you've used the app and things like that.
It knows too much, Paris. It's been tracking you everywhere. It knows where you are.
Yeah, that's true.
It
Carrot
knows when
will
you
kill me
sweat.
eventually, and I'm really happy about that.
Yep.
I'm minimalist on my Android device. My Pixel, it's just nothing. No widgets at all, except for the basic time and weather one. But on my Apple iPhone, I go crazy. So that's Audible. There's Carrot Weather. Whoops. You can show that's all right.
I guess I have 2 widgets.
My calendar. And this is just suggestions for widgets. And then here I have Lisa's location and I have my car. All good. It's all good. Here I have Google News. Here I have pictures from my past. Ahoy,
Nice.
matey. And then that's it. That's all I got. But that's a lot of widgets, right?
That is
Every
a lot of
page has a
widgets.
widget or 2. I love widgets. Anyway, now you can have a timer widget. Woohoo. Google has renamed TensorFlow Lite to Lite RT.
Don't forget the last part of it.
Jesus,
TensorFlow
Google.
brand remains.
So they haven't removed it. We don't
I just
know
thought this was a really funny headline that makes no sense to me, and I don't want to know.
I don't care. Lite RT, which is a terrible name. Lite Art. Meanwhile, the main TensorFlow brand will not be affected. I think they just want you to forget TensorFlow Lite exists. And actually, this is very good news. YouTube has debuted new parental controls aimed at teens. A new feature that would allow a parent to link their account to a teen's account in order to spy on them. No, did I say that? No, in order to gain insight into the teen's activity or spy on them.
I mean, this is clearly a response to the variety of bills
more and
and
more of that.
lawsuits that it is seeing over online child safety, specifically targeting the age 13 to 18 demo.
Wouldn't you hate this? You're 13. You're writing fanfic that involves anime lip locking, and your
I would
parents
hate
are getting
that.
alerted to your channel activity, the numbers of uploads, subscriptions, and comments.
When I was
Email
13, my dad seriously believed that Google Chrome was a virus, so it would have been rough for me.
Your dad.
I remember printing out stuff on the printer, being like, Google Chrome is a legitimate browser. And he was like,
Wow. Does your dad
Now
mind
he uses
that you're
Google
on a
Chrome.
show called This Week in Google?
Yeah, no, he loves it.
Oh,
he
he
uses
loves it
Google
now.
Chrome now. Whenever I tell him about that, he's like, "Oh, I didn't do that." I'm like,
Well, I remember Dad.
Dadnesia. Dadamnesia.
Very
Nisha,
important.
I didn't do that. I tell my daughter that all the time. I didn't do that.
No,
What are you talking about? I love
No.
Chrome. Well, that's the Google change log. I hope you enjoyed it. Banga boonga. Binga bonga boonga. There are so many other stories. But as usual on this show, there's so many things I want to talk about, but we ended up spending half an hour on pennies.
and it was a great half hour.
It was a great
Thank you,
Well, what's
Katie.
the reaction going to be from our fans out there? Will they like the penny?
Well,
I
you're
think
gonna
there
find
will
out.
always be a vocal minority that decides to complain about everything, and they'll be like, "Great show, but they spent too long talking about
many
pennies. This
pennies.
isn't Week in Pennies. This is This Week in Google."
I
Like,
think
no,
I should
this
do
is
a
This
show called This Week in Seniorage. Then you'd be happy.
Yeah,
I think what Paris wants is This Week in Amazing Things You Didn't Know.
I do. I do.
You know what? Let's make this the show. That's the show from now on. Scooter X, by the way, is hurt that we did not include all of his many links. All of his many links.
I'm sorry, Scooter X.
Sorry, Scooter.
It's unfortunate, but we don't care.
I ran out of time, Scoot.
Oh, we ran out of time. That's
Yeah. Like there's a clock on this show.
You think there's not a clock?
Hold up
buddy,
the clock.
You said
There's a clock. Look at that.
A bomb is going to go off
20
if we
seconds.
don't finish soon.
There is a clock, buddy. I have a clock. So, ladies and gentlemen, in one moment, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we will have our picks of the week. You're watching This Week in Pennies. That's right. There is where we put the inserted ad that is so offensive and annoying that you will want to join the club. Seriously, it wasn't my idea, but I think it turns out this is a really great way to get people into Club Twit. You listen to an awful ad, and then you go, "I don't want to hear that anymore." And I say, "Well, for $7 a month, you don't have to. You don't even have to hear me telling you join the club. We take that out too." Twit.tv/clubtwit, $7 a month, ad-free versions of all the shows. More importantly, you get to join in on special events that we do in our Club Twit Discord, like the game show that Paris and I are going to do when she gets back and I get back. It's going to be a lot of fun. Benito's going to be in our squad, our party, right?
Yes, and by game show, he means playing a game.
Yeah.
On a show. May I make a
it's so
suggestion
great.
as to the ads that you guys could use to maybe one ad you could add in addition to the interstitial ones.
get people
you
to
just
join the
have
club?
the dial-up internet noise, but like set at like significantly higher than the podcast, so people are a bit shocked. Could be a good way to force them into paying for Club Twit.
So
I think to insert a Lumi ad with the lady who talks about butt cracks, that'll get them to join.
So we turn this up really loud.
Oh, he's got it.
Love
We're
that.
not
I
hearing
think that
anything.
would annoy people.
Oh, is a noise going on?
We
can't
didn't hear it, Leo. Your
you're not
technology
hearing
didn't
it?
work. No, you're laughing at your own joke, but we're
Why aren't they hearing that? I'm hearing it.
Probably Zoom settings.
Oh,
Zoom
man.
likes to reject playback audio.
Did you not hear any of the audio I've
No.
been playing back throughout
Can
the whole
you
show?
mimic it with your voice?
Yeah.
Can you make the dial-up
Beep, boop,
noise?
boop, beep, 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 beep. Grr, grr, ksh, dong, dong, dong. Join the club so you never have to hear that again. Twit.tv/clubtwit. Actually, it's a lot of fun, and we really appreciate the support. Picks of the week. Let's start with Paris Martineau.
My pick of the week is a bit of a revisit. Quite a few weeks ago, I brought you the website 1 Million Checkboxes. It's a website with 1 million checkboxes
Which has been
on it.
hacked, right? Somebody has.
Well,
kids have been messing with it.
Part of the thing is the creator of it wrote a really good blog post called The Secret Inside 1 Million Checkboxes. And he goes through kind of his thinking in the site, how he was storing the state of the different checkboxes. They were in like bits and whatnot. A couple days after launching 1 million checkboxes, he rewrote the back end in one go, he says, with the help of his friend, to keep up the load. And for some reason, he dumped an ASCII encoding of the raw bytes in his database. He doesn't know why. He just did it. And then the data he saw, he was looking at it, and it looked a little weird. It, has normal, I guess, raw bytes in the database. And then in the middle of it is a link to catgirls.win /OMCB. And his reaction to this was, what the F? Am I hacked? He panicked. There were URLs in his database. There were URLs pointing to catgirls.win in his database. Something was very wrong. How could that be? Then he was looking at it. He realized that it was because someone was writing a message in binary on his website. Oh my
God.
He looked into it, eventually ended up going down the rabbit hole and just went, all right, I'm going to go to this website, catgirls.win /OMCB. Turns out it was a Discord server called Checking Boxes. And it was run by a bunch of teens that were downloading data to make images on the website. Basically, the way the website works, 1 million checkboxes. They asked him, have you seen your checkboxes in 1,000 by 1,000 image? And then he did it. He made the website that size, and it said stuff like be gay, do crime, the QR code that leads back to the Discord and things like that.
And they think the internet hurts teenagers.
Oh my God.
And the repeated noise at the bottom is the binary message that he found. He says the Discord was full of some very sharp teens, and they were writing these secret messages to gather other very sharp teens to talk about botting the site. Anyone who was writing a bot would probably be looking at either the base 64 version of the data, the binary version, or the 1000 to 1000 image version. And they were covering all the bases. And it worked.
Wow.
So he ends up kind of sitting in with this teen group. He goes through his process. They end up doing some really cool things. At one point, they tried out animations. They made the Windows blue screen of death.
How do you do animations?
Well, I think they did they made it, this was real time basically, they had the bots checking and unchecking the checkboxes.
These kids are amazing. They rickrolled him.
And that clip is in real time. This is what the checkboxes looked like in real time.
Wow. OMG. So this is, somebody's writing scripts to do this. You humans couldn't do this.
Yeah,
I mean, humans
they
did
were
it,
writing scripts.
Yeah, you couldn't do it by just your mouses.
And it's interesting because he ends up like kind of going into, there were certain times where he ended up building a relationship with this Discord. And for instance, when the Washington Post wrote about the thing, he messaged the Discord and was like, hey, the website's in the Washington Post. If you're botting, avoid the top where all the new viewers of the website are going to land so that they're not upset when they click a checkbox and it's automatically unclicked by your bot.
Oh, that's
and
so
I found this, it's a really like long blog post and he gets into it. And I just thought it was a really cute slice of the internet.
It's a perfect Paris
delightful
rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. This is on his Substack, which is aptly named EIEIO.substack.com, which stands
like
for the Electronic Information and Entertainment Industries Organization. Many people don't know that. No, that's really good for him.
It feels like a story from the old internet.
Yeah, it really does.
It is.
So recently I thought my most
this is him, by the way.
project.
Nolan.
The project was called 1 Million Checkbox.
So there's also a video you can watch.
You just
where
tell
he
he's a nice
walks
guy.
through
You
it.
just know
He
he's a
seemed
nice
like a great guy. And he says when he was a kid in high school, he wrote a bot that sent his friend a million spam messages on email and accidentally crashed the school's email server. So I think he felt a kinship with the kids who were hacking his checkbox.
What I found so
think
cute
that's
about
great.
that is he said about crashing the school's email server, the adults in my life were largely not mad at me. They asked me to knock it off, but also made me a t-shirt. I don't think I'd be doing what I do now without the encouragement that I received then, which is so cute.
I think it's really great.
That's a great story.
This is why when people say, oh, AI is going to take over all the programming jobs and kids don't know how technology works and stuff. Maybe a lot of kids don't, but there are kids out there who are just as excited about this stuff and getting into it and hacking it and messing with it as ever. And I love this. And maybe, I don't know how big this group was. Does he say how many
I
people?
think it ended up being like 60 some people.
Yeah. Some of the smartest kids in the country, probably. Yeah. The NSA will be talking to each and every one of them, trying to offer them a job. Very nice. Good pick.
That's my pick of the week.
Yeah. The secret inside 1 million checkboxes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a shocking revelation from Jeff Jarvis.
So you may not know, Paris, that I get abuse on this show.
Really? Abuse from who? I'll beat them.
I get it. Now, Stacey was guilty of this as much as anyone. Because it's late here, as you know, and I need to go have dinner. And I found a wonderful way to have dinner that was delicious and quick and inexpensive and convenient. And I got abused for it.
And what did you do?
Trader Joe's cacio e pepe.
Pepe. Yes.
And I enjoy it, and
Jeff,
I like it. And
are you saying frozen cacio e pepe?
Frozen
cacio e pepe.
You know
microwave.
She doesn't even know about
You know
this?
that you can just put spaghetti in a pot of water.
I can screw even that up.
And then put cheese on it. That's it. And then pepe.
No, I can screw that up.
And a little spaghetti water.
Didn't you one time burn yourself and you had to go to the ER?
With asparagus, yes. Yeah. I made cacio e pepe once for my wife, and it was awful. It was awful. I couldn't do it. So, but we found the bridge too far. I won't go and talk about bridges right now. There was a story this week about how climate change is making bridges more vulnerable to falling apart, but I'll leave that for another day.
Oh, come on.
Yes, it was there. But I have found the bridge too far. The place I will not go. Heinz spaghetti carbonara in a can.
What could possibly be wrong? It's got everything you want. Spaghetti, creamy sauce, pancetta.
And no artificial colors spelled with a U. Evidently, this is released in the UK where they have no taste.
Of course.
I would try it. I'm not going to lie.
I bet it's delicious.
I bet it's probably too salty.
Did you have Chef Boyardee when you were a kid?
Yes, until once as a child when I threw up and I'd had Chef Boyardee SpaghettiOs beforehand. And I remember seeing all the spaghetti letters still there, and I never had it since.
No.
I remember Abby giving her wagon wheels. You know, the wagon wheel pasta. I love it when she was like 8 months or something, or 9 months. And there's nothing really kind of more terrifying than projectile wagon wheels.
Because they retain their shape.
They retain their shape. Well. Yeah.
Listen, listen, probably this is awful, but I also can't knock it because I sometimes, my late night or early morning can't be bothered meal is, it's mac and cheese in a like little microwavable thing, but it's Cheetos flavored mac and cheese. And I don't know why, but the Cheetos flavor tastes so much better than all the other options. They've really figured it out, and it's delightful.
You probably would enjoy then my son Salt Hank's Amazon stream with the very wonderful. He sold quite a few of them. Cheeto grinder blender.
The Cheeto duster, yes.
Cheeto duster. You remember this?
Oh, do I remember it?
Yeah.
He was jealous.
A Cheeto flavored duster.
Oh, I should have saved it. I bought one.
I still to this day, every time you say Cheeto duster, I think you mean like duster, like the jacket, and a duster jacket floor length in the color of Cheetos. They should make that because I would buy it.
It's still on Amazon if you ever want to see it. Here he is,
Is it not just A blender?
It was streamed live. It's what it is. It's a very bad blender. I mean, you wouldn't put anything but the weakest Cheetos in there. I wouldn't even use the crunchy Cheetos. I'd use the basic Cheetos because it's just a little weak food grinder. It's not powerful in any way, but he made it look good, didn't he? And I think I got a very good deal on the Cheetos duster. Let's see what the price is. Last purchase December 8th. Oh, you can't get it anymore.
Devastating.
Well, now you should have kept it.
I never opened it. I should sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Get Hank to sign it. Autographed.
Oh, it really probably would be worth.
You can get it at Walmart for $29.99.
Oh, I only was $19.99, but I would never
I would
use
argue
it to
though that like as someone who's a big fan of crunchy things, I would not use the duster to add Cheetos on top. I would want to crumble them just slightly so that they retain their crunchiness a bit.
Well, from the look of what he was doing, it didn't get them to dust. It got them to crumbles.
Yeah. You get to choose the level of.
Okay, actually, my second thought is: could you dust them to the point where you could do like fried chicken Cheetos?
Yes, he did. In fact, make fried chicken. So you get that's the beauty of the Cheeto duster. It can go anywhere from crumbles to dust, literally dust. Here it is, Paris. Your Cheetos colored duster, which is a coat. I think spaghetti carbonara in a tin is a great idea. I have to say, I am a little bit of a stickler on carbonara because our local Italian restaurant, I think we probably have taken you there, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
Cafe Giostra, I ordered carbonara there and there were onions in it. And I said, dude, that's not carbonara. Here's a colored Cheetos duster just for you, Paris.
It's honestly beautiful. I'd wear it.
It's gorgeous.
Looks leather.
I will be wearing that at Bryant Park.
Oh, that's good to know.
The ingredients in Heinz include pancetta, corn flour, skimmed milk powder, cheese powder, sugar, garlic flavoring, onion extract, and dried parsley, just to give it a little bit of color.
Oh.
There's no dairy in carbonara. It feels like it's a creamy sauce, but there's no dairy, and it's just spaghetti water. The water, you save a little bit of that. And with the Parmesan and the pancetta, and that's all you need. It's delicious.
Dang, now I want carbonara.
I had, when the Dick Tracy movie came out, long back, what's his name? Who was the star of Dick Tracy?
Warren Beatty.
Thank you, Warren Beatty. He wore a yellow Dick Tracy coat.
Yes,
and
indeed.
When I left Entertainment Weekly in a huff, my staff got me one of those as a farewell. I don't have it still. It wouldn't fit.
Aww.
And you kind of couldn't wear it anywhere, but it was pretty amazing.
Very cool. That is it. We're done. Thank you so much to both Jeff and Paris. I cannot wait to meet you in person, Paris. We've never met.
I know. So exciting.
New York City beckons.
I have no idea whether or not you have legs, but I'm excited to find out.
I don't. But I do use AI when I write.
He is just a torso. Yes.
Just a torso.
The metaverse characters were actually designed based on Leo.
Exactly.
Then next week, it will be. Are you hosting next week, Paris?
No, Micah is hosting next week.
Micah's
I'll be out,
next week.
and then I will be hosting the week after that.
Because you're in Croatia. Yeah.
Yes.
Have fun in Croatia.
I shall.
That's going to be awesome.
I'll be here as always, folks. You can't get rid of me.
He's
I am the
holding down the
bad
fort.
penny.
No, we need Jeff here to give for the continuity. So next week, Micah, Jeff, and do we know yet, Benito, who will be filling in for Paris?
Not yet.
Not yet. Somebody very excited. Maybe you should get Ed Zitron on. That would be fun.
I'd love to see Micah try and handle Ed. It would be painful.
Wow. And thank you, Jeff. I will see you for lunch, and I will see you both after that in a couple of weeks. I'll be back on September 24th or 25th for This Week in Google. Thank you all for joining us. We do This Week in Google every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us stream on 7 platforms: YouTube, Twitch, X.com, LinkedIn, Facebook. I feel like this is the cognitive test. Man, woman, gorilla, camera.
A clock has two.
No. I've lost count. Kick and somewhere else. But if you can't watch live, you can always get a copy of the show after the fact. We record it, amazingly enough, and download it either from the website. What? Yes. It's
This
lives
whole time?
on forever. twit.com/twig. Or actually, when you get there, you'll see a link to the YouTube channel, and you can see every episode there in video. Or subscribe in your favorite podcast client to the audio or the video. You'll get it automatically that way, which is very nice. Thank you to our club members who made this all possible. We really appreciate it. And
you got to join so that Leo can afford a button on that shirt.
That's
what
true.
you have to do.
I'm never wearing this shirt again. I don't know if I popped
It's a great
or
shirt.
Isn't it great? The sombrero shirt.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Does it have sombrero buttons?
Oh, it
No,
should.
just regular buttons.
Shouldn't it?
Maybe you should replace them with sombrero.
Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or a little
have a great
avocado.
vacation in Paris. I will see you for
Likewise.
lunch on Friday, and we'll see you all next time. Is that a cat? behind you?
Probably.
No.
Well, did you see the? Oh, wait! One more story. Just one more story. Did you see the story about the number 10 Downing Street cat that was in the Wall Street Journal? Did I put it in the rundown?
No.
Oh, it's a beauty.
Does this cat survive from prime minister to prime minister?
Yes, 6 prime ministers.
Wow.
But the other animals, turns out that Larry is a bastard. He's mean. Did you see it there, Paris?
Larry the cat. Yeah. Pain in the bud.
There's a catastrophe brewing on Downing Street.
Here are Larry the cat's best moments. He's their chief mouser.
New British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has a lot in his mind, from the riots that swept England recently to Britain's sluggish economy to the war in Ukraine. But the former prosecutor has another issue troubling him.
Whoa.
How to handle Larry the cat.
Got a pigeon. Holy cow. You don't see
Larry's
that
tough.
every day. Uh-oh. The Bobby's going to open the door for him. There goes Larry. He gets a Bobby to open the door for him. That's
Larry is 17 years old.
Oh my goodness.
They have a communications plan for when Larry loses the 10th life.
Oh, they're going to have to do a stop the BBC.
Yeah.
Go dark.
Starmer,
and play God Save the
Starmer,
Cat.
his wife, Victoria, and 2 teenage children moved into 10 Downing Street in July after a sweeping electoral victory. But another family member also moved in, Jojo, a male ginger cat.
Oh, that's not going to go
Jojo has
well.
yet to meet Larry, and the family is working out how to engineer an encounter that doesn't end in flying fur, according to sources familiar with the matter. The Daily Mail tabloid warned of a catastrophe if the meeting goes wrong. The headline for the next section is, in quotes, "It's Larry's domain." Larry, like many cats, doesn't always take well to newcomers, especially those on 4 legs. Larry had, quote, heated exchanges with Nova, the Labrador owned by former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Nova came out in the losing end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They say, according to the Independent, you can't put a cat flap in the door because they're bomb-proof. So Larry has to be let in and let out all by himself. Oh, here's the
Boris
Siberian
Johnson
kitty.
wrote, Larry, in my view, is a bit of a thug. I say this because our dog Dylan went a few times to Larry's lair, and Larry, being out at the time Dylan decided, entirely naturally and reasonably, to eat his food. The reprisals were terrible. He wrote in the newspaper column, dubbing Larry a catzilla.
And I don't know, but I think that this is actually the official X account of
No,
Larry
it's unofficial,
the cat. It's not.
but-
Oh, should be.
Police
Oh,
had
yes,
to
it's
break up
unofficial.
Larry's fisticuffs with Freya, former Chancellor George Osborne's cat. Larry tussled with Palmerston, a female that performed similar duties, moral support for staff, and perhaps catching the occasional mouse at the nearby Foreign and Commonwealth Office.
I think this cat is my new political idol. Survived 6 prime ministers.
They have a photo of Larry hissing at Palmerston.
Yes.
Who Larry hurt. Palmerston's ear was damaged during an encounter with Larry, and then he retired to the countryside in 2020.
Oh my God, that is vicious.
Okay, one more thing. Far from being spooked, the Starmers have doubled down, and this week brought a new cat, a Siberian kitty, into the residence. Wow.
So I didn't mean to extend the show beyond, but I knew you'd enjoy that.
I really,
And the cat
really
did
Thank you.
outlast Liz Truss, so that's good.
Yeah.
For Larry, this new kitten might be the lesser of two evils. The Star Martines originally wanted a German shepherd, but relented after a summer of negotiations.
Wow.
Wow. Delightful.
You gotta love this. That's why they'll always be in England.
Yeah.
The cat outlives the prime minister.
Yeah.
You can't imagine that in the
of
White
them.
House.
Six of them.
Yeah, that oh yeah, you're moving out, no problem. The cat's going to stay. That would be great. Get Larry the cat a
President
can of
Biden's
Heinz
dogs.
spaghetti carbonara for dinner, and
Yeah. All right. So sorry, you can end the
party
show.
begin. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a great vacation. Bye bye on This Week in Google.
Bye.